It's Free Talk Live. We invite you to the program. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio here, you've got Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Of course, you can bring up whatever you want. Last night, I did mention that people are now eating their pets in Venezuela. We didn't get to the story here from thedailybeast.com. Caracas, in a country that was... Did I miss
Is that what they're eating?
A carcass?
The Daily Beast?
Are they eating it every day? A daily beast? Is that what they're eating? A daily beast?
That is funny. Caracas, in a country that was once rich but where people are beginning to starve, few animals are safe. One morning in August at the Metropolitan Zoo in the torrid city of Maracaibo, workers were shocked to find the bones of a buffalo and some wild pigs inside their cages with clear signs of mutilation. Thieves allegedly stole the meat to eat what they could, then sell the rest on the local market. In West Caracas at the zoo of the Caracau district, the same sort of thing happened. Watchmen found the bones and offal of a black horse inside its enclosure. Apparently the perpetrators...
Offal? How do you say offal?
O-F-F-A-L? I've never seen that word before. I don't know what it is.
It's the guts.
Oh. And apparently the perpetrators took only the edible parts of the animal. Venezuela's increasingly authoritarian president, Nicolas Maduro, knows people are going hungry in his country, but he doesn't know what to do about it. He keeps announcing new stopgap measures, but his words don't carry a lot of nutritional weight. And as we heard, one of the things the government is doing is bringing in, like they're paying for food to be brought into the country. But, of course, whenever you put the government in charge of something, it inevitably is going to mismanage it. And in the case of food, well, mismanaging food means spoilage. So you leave the food out too long, and if it's a pallet full of meat or something like that, they leave it sitting there while they have to get all their government paperwork done or jump through whatever bureaucratic hoops need to be jumped through, and before you know it, you've got rotting meat and you've wasted all that time, all that effort, and all that money. I'm not speculating. This is from a story that we'd told in the past within the last year of the government food program there. So the, of course, answer is if you want to have people be fed in your country, you step the hell out of the way and you let the marketplace take care of this stuff instead of trying to regulate and micromanage every aspect.
It would probably start happening overnight, too. It would be like one of those things where it's like immediate solutions.
Absolutely.
And then like 6 months later, it'd be like everything's just recovered.
Right. Food would be on the shelves at the grocery store, and people would be able to buy products out in the open rather than having to skulk around in the black market to get the things that they want to buy, which is the way things are in Venezuela right now. If you're feeding yourself, you're probably not doing it by waiting in lines for 8 hours a day at the official grocery stores where you get one product or whatever it is they happen to have for that day, whatever arbitrary selection that they've made.
Yeah, but Maduro's looking out for the poor people in Venezuela.
No, he's not.
He's making sure that everybody's just as poor as they are.
There you go. Except for him. He's doing all right. He looks like he's eating well. One of the latest programs was called the so-called Plan Conejo, the Rabbit Plan, a failed attempt to start rabbit farms all over the capital in order to substitute the proteins that come from unaffordable chicken and even more unaffordable beef.
Chicken. It's I believe you can get chicken
in Venezuela too
on sale in the United States. Last I saw, you can still sort of stock up. Granted, you probably need a freezer to do this, but you can stock 49 cents a pound. That's what unaffordable chicken is like. A person working minimum wage in this country can buy 15 pounds of chicken with 1 hour's labor.
Yep. Well, we also have not a true free market, but a more free market, a less encumbered marketplace than Venezuela, and so that
chicken's subsidized in this country. That's a fair statement. Yep.
But competition is going to drive prices down.
Yep.
If supply is high, prices are going to go down. In the case of Venezuela, supply is very, very low. So if you can find some chicken, I imagine you're going to pay through the nose for it.
Yeah.
In that case,
neighbors haven't stolen all your chickens already.
Right. So, quote, we want people to stop seeing these rabbits as pets and start seeing them as what they really are, 2 kilograms of meat full of protein, declared Minister of Urban Agriculture Freddy Bernal. But instead, Venezuelans traditionally do see rabbits as pets and not food, so in areas where the government brought rabbits to start farms, people started adopting them, giving them funny nicknames, and even embellishing their long ears with colorful bows. No question of eating the little deers after that. Natalie, whose life is a daily grind, says what we really need is a solution, not those crazy measures the government is inventing. She says it's a tough time finding food just to feed herself and her children. Every Saturday, Natalie wakes up earlier than the average Venezuelan. She dresses in a hurry, and whenever she can, she feeds something to her sons and daughters and tells them to wait patiently for her return. The kids, already used to this routine, wave from the improvised front door of their shanty, then look forward anxiously to what she might bring back. She then takes her four-wheel drive car, then a bus, then a train from Antimano to Municipal Coche Market in South Caracas, where for the last 3.5 months she's made her pilgrimage to dig through the garbage left by the vendors, trying to find a half-rotted vegetable, a piece of fruit, or, if luck is on her side, chicken skin to take back home and feed to her children. Can you imagine taking all of that time and effort to just go and pour over somebody else's garbage, to get in your car at whatever cost that gasoline happens to be, and whatever cost the time happens to be of getting all through these, car ride, train ride, bus ride, just to go and paw through some garbage? Things weren't always this difficult for Natalie and her family. 5 years ago in Venezuela, the charismatic commander Hugo Chavez, president and leader of the so-called socialist revolution of the 21st century, distributed widely the abundant revenues produced by the Venezuela oil production. With the prices of the barrel of oil hovering around $100 back then, no Venezuelan could have predicted the hard times yet to come. That was when, together with her husband and 5 kids, Natalie decided to move to the capital, looking for some of those riches the socialist leader spread among the poorest. But when he died in 2013, gosh, it was only 2013? I feel like he died before that. But anyway,
sounds about right.
Things took an unexpected and, for her, very unfortunate turn. I'll tell you more of her story coming up. You can also bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. Now, the price of oil frequently gets a lot of the blame in these stories about Venezuela. We've been sharing a lot of this.
Right, the price of oil is down, so everybody's starving in Venezuela.
Right.
No, Venezuela has socialism. They're proud of their socialism. They've advertised their socialism for decades now, and that's why they're starving, because they have a poorly thought out and demonstrably, provably bad system for redistributing wealth and goods.
Right, because the price of oil is down globally. And are the people in Saudi Arabia starving?
Some are in pretty bad shape. I mean, the ones that are trucked in to build their silly mosques and stuff.
Yeah.
Buildings. Yeah.
I suspect it's not nearly as bad as in Venezuela, where
it's not.
The inflation is at such a double-digit rate constantly, maybe even more than double digits at this point, but where the inflation is so bad that, the money that you pay for a sandwich this week, you may have to pay twice as much for the same sandwich next week. And that and their official forced exchange rate are some of the things that are really screwing up the economy over there. Because, again, prices go down on, in the oil market. Well, most of the countries that are manufacturing oil, they're still doing all right because they don't have this socialist system. When the arrival of Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela's situation deteriorated quickly. Out of control inflation and severe food shortages led to 120 days of protests and general unrest in the nation. That was mostly this year, earlier. I think it was
the protests
late
aren't
spring.
still going on? People aren't whipping Molotov cocktails at the cops anymore?
I don't know what the status is in the streets, Mark. I haven't seen anything.
An interesting thought just occurred to me is that, what didn't there occur to be some stories that Bitcoin was starting to take off in Venezuela because of this?
The miners are doing very well if they don't get caught by the secret police.
Right.
So the secret police will be investigating you if they see you using too much power. Mm-hmm. And then they might wonder, sort of like in the United States, where the police will look at power for drug growth operations or marijuana growing operations. They do the same thing in Venezuela, but they're looking for Bitcoin vending.
Well, it's just interesting to me to think that mining. these transaction fees that have been going up on the network, that could be seriously affecting some of these Venezuelans extremely negatively. I mean, that a transaction fee could be several meals.
No, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, I wouldn't think the Venezuelans are using Bitcoin in any meaningful way besides to just simply mine it to cash out on that.
Right.
More coming up here in moments. You can take control of the airwaves. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Fireplaces and wood stoves are wonderful to have and provide low-cost heating, but they've got their drawbacks too. One of them is the increased likelihood that your home will burn. My primary advice is to you is to never let fire into your home and to make sure that you have an extinguisher on every floor and the garage, and that everyone knows how to use it. But if you love your wood stove, don't want to give it up, make sure that you keep things away from it and have a professional clean it every year. The pro will make sure the chimney is properly functioning also. Make sure to dispose of your ashes outside too. I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you may dial toll free here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And the Skype username, should you wish to join us there, is lrn.fm. You can call us about anything you want. We're talking about the situation in Venezuela again. This time, people eating pets, people eating not farm animals, but zoo animals, just going in and butchering them right there in the zoo. And just taking away, whatever it is that, whatever parts they could possibly either eat or sell on the black marketplace. And that's because people are desperate. They are hungry. Some people probably close to starving over there as the socialist government structure has absolutely ruined the economy and has resulted in all of this. With you in the studio here tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Coming up, we're also going to go with more international news. Mark, you're going to tell us about some surgery options that are being taken off the table in the United Kingdom. We'll get to that story coming up here. And again, our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We're talking about a lady in Venezuela. She is a mother. Her name is, and I don't know where they actually gave her full name, Natalie. They may not have given her full name, but anyway, Ms. Natalie. She wakes up earlier than the average Venezuelan, then drives. It takes a car, then a bus, then a train. So I don't think she's driving, but she takes a car, bus, then train, just to go down to a marketplace in Caracas pretty much every single day, where she looks through a bunch of garbage with the hope of finding some scraps that she can bring back to her family. They talk about how Nicolas Maduro, the president, replaced Hugo Chavez, and things got even worse after that. It says here, this is from thedailybeast.com, it was in this atmosphere of chaos and uncertainty precisely that Natalie's family was about to receive a new member and lose an old one. She was pregnant again. Her husband, an unemployed builder, could not withstand the pressure of feeding 6 kids, so he decided to abandon them. Now, with 6 kids and unable to work, Natalie had to make what she recalls was her hardest choice ever, to send her older son to work at the landfill in West Caracas. She says, "This is something that breaks my soul. I want my boy to go to school, to have a different future, but I cannot afford it. How can I buy a notebook? The oldest, he's a good kid. He helps me a lot. It's very painful to send him to dig in the garbage just to be able to eat." Sadly, this story's not unusual in today's Venezuela. The high inflation rates and food shortages that followed Chavez's death have made many basic products unaffordable for 80% of the nation that has been plunged into poverty. In the capital, it's common to bump into individuals and even families that, like Natalie's, live on garbage. Around Sabana Grande Boulevard, many families with kids watch avidly over the piles of garbage outside of restaurants, waiting for the leftovers. Some of these families are not homeless, and some even have jobs, but their incomes aren't enough to eat.
Who's eating at these restaurants?
I don't know. There's obviously still some rich people left around, right? Or maybe tourists.
And food is getting distributed to them, interestingly, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, when the money's so devalued, how is one rich, right? So if you can't save and be rich in Venezuela, does that make sense?
I see what you're saying.
Because if you had 1 million bolivars or whatever,
there's probably people with investments outside of the country, would be my guess.
And then they just get money sent in somehow, even though foreign money is illegal in Venezuela right now?
No, it's not illegal. I don't think it's illegal to have the U.S. dollar.
Then they take the exchange rate of 10 bolivars, or the artificial exchange rate that the banks give?
Well, I would guess they're getting black market exchange, where you can get, like, last time I looked, 44,000 bolivars.
So they're getting money from outside of the country, doing a black market exchange, and then patronizing the restaurants.
That's my guess, for whatever restaurants are still in business. I'd be fascinated to hear from somebody that's actually in Venezuela.
I'm fascinated to know why they don't leave.
It's probably easier said than done. I mean, the borders aren't exactly wide open.
People are smuggling gas across the border, gasoline across the borders.
And there are people who are leaving. I mean, we've read stories about people crossing over into Colombia, for instance, with or without permission, just doing what they can to get over there.
Yeah.
There was that one time when Maduro actually opened the border to allow people specifically to go shopping.
Yeah.
So, in a tacit admission that Venezuela has failed at this, he let tens of thousands of people, like 100,000 people in one day, crossed a couple of different bridges over to Colombia, where they went to the nearby towns next to the border, and they actually everybody went shopping with what they could, scrounge together. And so it was a very good day for the Colombian sellers and vendors there. Right next to a dumpster outside of a shopping mall, 4 families wait in the afternoon for the moment when the restaurant owners take out the leftovers. 3 mothers, 7 kids, and 28-year-old Luis Miguel, the only man, eagerly search the container every day, hoping to find something good to eat or to sell. When Luis Miguel talks, you can see the shame his condition causes him, but at the same time, the stoicism he has assumed in his determination to feed his children. He says, quote, "I used to work in the Metro Cable in San Agustin, which is a cable car service. With my salary," he says, "I was able to buy enough food for my family, and I even dreamed about building a proper house for us. But then it seems like things went crazy. I got fired, and the little money I earned doing small jobs wasn't enough to feed my family, so I started doing this." He says, "In the beginning, it was just 2 days a week, but lately things have gotten so rough that I decided to stay here the whole time." It's his job to sit outside of a dumpster all day long so he can get some food for his family. That's his life. That's his life. Well, I don't imagine there's a lot of places hiring.
Yeah, this is what an efficiency in a marketplace looks like.
He says that things have gotten so bad, I decided to stay here the whole time. If I move, someone else will take over my spot. I've even seen people fighting with knives for a spot at a dumpster like mine. At least here, I can find something to feed my children, unquote. According to a recent study by Caritas, a Catholic NGO that helps the poorest sectors of society, 5 to 6 children die in Venezuela from malnutrition every day. And the toll may reach as high as 280,000 in the coming years if these trends continue. Meanwhile, the Secretary of the Union of Workers in Zoos and National Parks says the situation in the zoos is far worse than the headlines have suggested. It's not just a question of animals being eaten, it's the question of whether the animals themselves will be able to eat at all. Because if you can't feed the people,
how can you possibly feed the zoo
animals?
Yeah.
Some animals are dying
They should be selling the zoo animals off to other zoos.
From malnutrition, and others are dying because of the lack of medicines for the treatments that they require, which is also true of human beings, by the way. The country is seriously dry on medication. You basically, if you get some sort of an infection, well, good luck even finding soap to clean out whatever it was. So it's bad. The most emblematic case, Ruperta the elephant. She's one of the oldest animals at the zoo of Caracau, but her emeritus status could not prevent her from suffering the negative impact of the economic crisis. Much like Natalie and Luis Miguel and their families, and indeed, like most Venezuelans, Ruperta the elephant is going hungry.
Clearly, this is capitalism. This is their worship of money, and that the fact that they were reliant on oil and the other capitalists around the world, giving them money, and they're just greedy. It's greedy capitalists.
Unfortunately, this is a tragic situation. That's the story from thedailybeast.com. You're being facetious with your comments there. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's sad that hopefully some people can look at this situation and learn from it that socialism doesn't work. But, of course, the true believers in socialism will simply say that, well, they just did it wrong. They should have done it my way. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Chad here, owner of Infidel Body Armor. With the shooting in Vegas, there will be calls to ban guns and body armor. You can expect prices to rise dramatically in the coming weeks as gun grabbers try to outlaw your freedom. If you don't have your armor kit yet, you are behind the curve. Don't miss your window of opportunity. Go to infidelbodyarmor.com and click on Specials. That's infidelbodyarmor.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you may dial toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well at Skype username lrn.fm. You can take control of the airwaves here and bring up anything you want. Joining you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Also, want to make sure you know about Dash. We had a pretty good day here in Keene. We did our Bitcoin cryptocurrency meetup, as we do about every 8 days in Keene, New Hampshire, which is the #1 most Bitcoin accepting city, I think, per capita, or at least one of the top ones. So I think Portsmouth in New Hampshire is challenging us, and they may actually have it by a slight amount, but Keene and Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the two dominant cities as far as Bitcoin accepting businesses per capita. But the thing is, it's getting harder and harder to justify actually spending Bitcoin, given that the Bitcoin fees are somewhere in the range of like $3 to $5 typically now.
Yeah, I paid $4. Was it this morning?
On your median transaction size.
Bitcoin in New Hampshire from coast to coast?
I hear that this may be a software problem that's present in wallets more than it is sort of a
no, it's a problem with the network being full. So the Bitcoin network is full of transactions at the moment, and you can speculate on why that is. Some people believe that there's a spamming operation going on, that somebody's trying to drive up these costs for some reason. But either way, the network's full, and the only way you can get your transaction through is if it competes with the fees of everybody else. But Dash isn't suffering from that problem. Dash fees are very, very low compared to Bitcoin. We're talking about a cent or two typically in a Dash transaction, maybe even less in some cases. And so if you're looking for like an actual digital cash like Bitcoin used to be, it is not and may not be in the foreseeable future, Dash has it, and they've got it right now. You can go to dash.org to learn more about it. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help you manage your own wealth. It is fast. It can be also private if you want, and it's easy. Most importantly, you can pay anyone anywhere in the world anytime for pennies on the dollar. The fees are very low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now, so go to Dash.org and find out why. And I say it was a good day for Dash today because we actually had our crypto meetup at a place that now accepts Dash in addition to accepting Bitcoin. And given the choice, I'm not spending Bitcoin because it's too expensive to spend it. I spent Dash. Mark, you spent Dash. Daryl spent Dash today. I would say the majority of people who bought from this vendor today, the local barbecue place here in town, spent Dash at the meetup rather than Bitcoin.
I'm getting ready to launch a business that accepts Dash.
Excellent. We won't say any more about what that is, but you'll tell us more when that time is right.
Very, very soon.
I think some of our listeners will be very excited about that too. So Dash.org, learn more there. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Ricky is on the line in Pennsylvania. Go ahead, Ricky. You're on Skype. Hello, Ricky. Ricky going once. Ricky in Pennsylvania going twice. Maybe there's some sort of microphone issue there. We're going to try Scott in Massachusetts instead. Scott, you're on Free Talk Live.
Good evening, Ian, Mark, and Johnson.
What's on your mind, Scott? This is Scott the Bigot, by the way. Go ahead.
Today's a historic day. There was no advertisement about it at all. The 100th anniversary of the Russian Revolution. I'm shocked that there wasn't.
I saw that somewhere. So there was something about it. Go ahead.
But anyway, there's strong parallels between what's going on, very ominous ones, between what happened 100 years ago today and today.
Didn't you call about this last week?
Well, but it's so important that I want to reiterate to your listeners. Is that all right?
Well, no, I really prefer
if you make a new
not
point
call about the same exact
I'll change
thing.
the subject if that's what you want.
Yeah.
I'll change the subject. Let's talk about this massacre that went on.
The shooting in the church.
The shooting was a massacre.
Yeah.
And what this massacre shows is that there is it is a symbolic of a race war going on between black and white, a civil war going on between conservatives and liberals, communists. And,
wait a minute, wasn't this a white guy killing mostly white people in the church?
That's right. That's right. But
so how is that a race war?
Because he was guilty.
You've got all kinds of. You've got Antifa. I'm referring to Antifa in Charlottesville.
Antifa, the anti-fascist
going on
group.
Between Antifa and neo-Nazis and Klansmen. There's going to be further clashes between this. And what's going on is that in large part, George Soros is financing a lot of this between the Occupy Wall Street, Black Lives Matter, the
what does all that have to do with the church shooting? I mean, you're going off on George Soros, as you tend to do, but what does that have to do with this nut job who shot up a church and, murdered 26 people?
It goes to show what's going on in America. There's a war going on in America.
No, there's not.
There's a war going on.
Just because Rand Paul got beat up by his angry neighbor doesn't mean there's a war going on in America.
There's a war on for your mind.
There's going to be a civil war in this country. There's going to be.
How will you know it when you see it?
It's primarily being launched by Jewish communists.
How will you know if it's a civil war when you see it? Because just because you're sitting out there saying you believe there's a war happening, normally there has to be bullets flying and some sort of evidence of that war.
There will be all of these mass shootings.
A mass shooting is not a war.
No, but eventually
that's just a psychopath.
Somebody's going to pay money.
War is when psychopaths organize soldiers typically to go and do their bidding for them. A lone nut psychopath going on his own volition to do some sort of violent act, that's not war, and it's not evidence of a war.
So are you trying to say that you believe that this shooter, he just was flipping through the protocols of the Elders of Zion and then was like, I'm going to go shoot up my local Christian church because it makes sense?
I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that it's going to lead. This is not the end by any means. This is going to be the future of this country. There's going to be one massacre after another massacre after another.
Yeah, because it's been happening throughout time.
I'm going to be very happy when I see
That's
America
not a war, dude. That's not a war. Unless there's some sort of coordination between the psychopaths, you don't have a war. You just have random acts of violence.
Well, then there'll be massive random acts of violence until eventually something ignites. And maybe the Zionist-occupied government
This is what you want to happen, right? Is this your fantasy?
My fantasy is this, Ian. You ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. I want to see the United States government destroyed. I want to see it laid to waste. It's evil. It's run by Jews. It's a Zionist-occupied government.
Well, you are also evil because you hate people based on their belief systems.
Is there a government that's not run by Jews?
Johnson had it right on the nose that the Protocol of the Learned Elders of Zion is not a hoax. It's authentic, and it figures into this. This is going to be the future of America when the Jews destroy America, make it a communist nation. And that's what's exactly happening in the United States today. But the stupid
right, so every Christian who votes for communism, they're just a puppet of the Jews, right? All those Christians.
Say that again?
Every Christian who's, because the Jewish people are not the majority of the Congress. So every communist program that Congress puts together, you're just saying they're all a bunch of dupes and they've been being manipulated by the ever-intelligent Jewish people.
Look at the names if you don't believe me.
I don't want to. Thanks for the call tonight.
Adam Schindler. I like how he said Adam Schindler.
I didn't even hear him say it. Just throwing out a bunch of names as though I'm supposed to be
conflating different
impressed.
Jewish names together into one mush.
Yeah. What were you trying? Go ahead.
Oh,
I was just trying to ask him if he believed, because I don't believe the government's run by Jews, so therefore I want to know if he believes that every government is run by Jews or whatever. I don't know.
It would have been a good question had he actually.
Clearly, no one's able to resist the lizard alien mind control powers that these Jews have. With their alien abilities to control decent white Christian folk.
Now,
and
how many people out there don't know that you're doing an impression of Alex Jones and actually think that you think the things that you're saying right now?
Who knows? I've given up at this point on caring.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Since he brought it up, though, I do have a story about the shooting and how it ended up being stopped, because it wasn't the police that stopped the shooter. It's Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories. While I say these hobgoblins are imaginary, I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small. It's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
It's now been 7 days since a group of hikers went missing in Maine's Acadia National Park. The rescue crews there are still holding out hope of finding them alive. Autistic reporter Michael Falk is on the scene there. Michael.
Hello, Brooke. My socks got wet. That cameraman gave me new socks. I am fine.
That's good, Michael, but what's the situation there?
The names of the hikers are Casey Allman, Brian Emery, Ashley Thorson. The hikers were last seen 174 hours ago. Since then, 3 very big storms have hit here. There's a 1.24% chance that all of the hikers are alive. Why are you looking for the hikers?
Well, we're still hopeful that we might be able to find them. There's been a break in the weather, so we're hoping that...
Over the past 7 days, the average high temperature has been 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Over the past 7 days, the average low temperature has been 6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right. So we did another sweep of the park from the air, but we didn't see anything.
Without shelter, the human body can withstand temperatures this cold for a maximum of 3 hours. Is there shelter in the forest for the hikers?
Not that we know of.
They are frozen.
Well, we like this.
This is the Onion News Network.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. It's bitcoin.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and we invite you on the radio here. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever claptrap you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, ridiculous conspiracy theory, anything goes here on Free Talk Live. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
As we continue, I do want you to still know about Bitcoin.com. Even though Bitcoin is in serious hurt right now, it is, in my opinion, pretty seriously broken. I mean, you look at the price, you wouldn't think it is. You'd think everything's great. Hey, $7,000 per Bitcoin, that's pretty awesome. And it is. I mean, no doubt about it, but it's not useful.
I wonder what comparable, if there's like a substance that Bitcoin's comparable to now. I mean, before you could say, oh, Bitcoin's still not as valuable as gold, per ounce.
It's more valuable than gold.
Well, yeah, clearly now.
I think you can compare it to gold in that it's now hard to spend like gold is hard to spend.
But I wonder if there's another substance, like, that Bitcoin is now at parity with, like, plutonium? Like, what is it?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question.
Is there a substance that's right around, $8,000 or whatever
per whatever
ounce?
Yeah. What arbitrary weight of plutonium do you select?
Right. Well, it's ounce for everything else that you would sell.
Sure, but one Bitcoin is just this arbitrary thing, right? Like,
right. But it's always generally compared to an ounce of a metal.
It has been. That's true.
Troy ounce.
Yeah,
Bitcoin.com is where you can go to learn more about Bitcoin. And stay tuned to the news over at news.bitcoin.com. I mean, we talk about cryptocurrencies on Free Talk Live often enough, so you can certainly get the basics from us. But if you really want to learn about Bitcoin, bitcoin.com is a great place to go and get the latest news headlines about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies over at news.bitcoin.com. We're getting closer and closer now to the upcoming hard fork of Bitcoin that's going to happen next week, and there's all kinds of predictions about what might actually transpire, but I don't think anybody knows. We've never, although there has been a hard fork previously, actually there have been two of them, this is going to be the most contentious of all of them. So you want to get the latest news about Bitcoin, go to news.bitcoin.com. Our toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE.
I saw something preliminary here that plutonium was about 4,400 to $5,600 dollars per gram.
Okay.
So that's a lot of money.
There's a lot of grams in an ounce.
Yeah, there is.
All right, so our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, and we can talk to you about anything that's on your mind. But I said I've got a story about the Texas shooting. The story is from theblaze.com. If it weren't for a good guy with a gun, more lives could have been lost on Sunday when a gunman opened fire in a small church in Texas. According to law enforcement officials, local Sutherland Springs, Texas resident confronted 26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelly after he opened fire on parishioners in the town's First Baptist Church. CNN reported that when Kelly opened fire on the church with a semi-automatic AR-15 rifle, a local resident grabbed his own rifle and engaged Kelly.
Also an AR, from what I understand.
Causing him to stop firing on the church, get into a vehicle, and run. From there, a chase ensued, and Kelly ended up dead. It wasn't clear at the time of this writing, and I don't know if it's been cleared up since then, if it was the resident who shot Kelly or if he died from a self-inflicted gunshot.
As I understand it, was the resident.
The resident who engaged Kelly ran into a man's truck to chase him. That man, Johnny Langendorf, told his story to a local news station. He told KSAT-TV that he saw the unnamed resident engaging in fire with Kelly. That's when the resident ran to his truck, and they began chasing Kelly. All the while, they were communicating with dispatchers. Langendorf said the chase reached speeds of up to 95 miles an hour before Kelly lost control of his vehicle and crashed. Langendorf said the unnamed resident then held Kelly at gunpoint. Sometime after the crash is when Kelly died, though it is not clear when. Quote, I was just trying to get him apprehended or whatever was needed to happen. I mean, it was just strictly acting on what was the right thing to do, he said at the time. So that's a little bit of good news. I mean, if there's any kind of silver lining in this story, it's the fact that somebody on their own volition did the right thing and stopped this massacre, from getting worse than it already was. And it is already apparently the worst in Texas history.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people posting anti-gun stuff, on Facebook again.
Of course.
Of course, it's, about less than 2 weeks after somebody runs a bunch of people over with a truck in New York.
Correct.
Of course, we're not going to think about that.
Somebody also proposed getting rid of vehicles in New York City.
Somebody did.
Yeah.
But...
Somebody in a magazine
most
or
gun
whatever.
Control advocates aren't going to go so far as there shouldn't be any cars. But what's interesting is that...
I bet you that soon, though, they'd probably start advocating that there shouldn't be any drivers in cars.
No, yeah, soon they will. I mean, honestly, a driver in a car soon is going to be a weapon of mass destruction compared to the handful of deaths that'll occur at the hands of driverless cars compared to the 30,000 that occur yearly. Comparatively, which is far more than die from gun deaths.
Which I'm sure terrorists will figure out how to hack vehicles if necessary to, drive them where they want them to go.
Indeed.
Or send them where they want them to go without drivers.
The difficulty with the United States and gun control is that, first, you have to get rid of that pesky Second Amendment, which just isn't going to be possible. So you live in a fantasy land. If getting rid of guns is important to you, there is a whole bunch of the globe that you can go to.
Pretty much every other country,
Some
right?
places safer, some places not. It's really across the board. Secondly, there are 600 million guns. That's one estimate that's out there. Some say more than 300 million, but
one for each person.
Yeah, very few people will tell you that there are fewer than a gun for every person in America. So there are a lot of guns. How are you going to get rid of them? You can legislate against them, but you first have to change the hearts and minds of the gun lovers out there, because those people have those things buried in their backyards.
Yeah, they love guns.
They love them, and they believe that they keep them safer. Okay, so if you getting on Facebook and ranting and calling somebody stupid for their belief that a gun's going to keep them safe, not an effective communication tool.
Especially if the person has actually lived through a situation where the gun has kept them or their family members safe.
Right.
Has scared off a criminal or something.
How is that going to work? How are you going to convince a person that's managed to scare off a criminal, stop a crime with a gun? That's going to be very difficult.
Sure.
Well, that doesn't happen because it's fictional.
That's right.
You don't actually ever stop crimes with your guns because you can't actually do it. It's not possible.
This is the rhetoric that goes on in the United States. Both sides make up, straw men and then throw them at each other. It just doesn't make any sense.
You're just delusional, you dumb redneck.
That's right. I'm a dumb redneck. And so, honestly, if you post pictures of your kids, post pictures of your meals, do something on Facebook besides rant about guns because you're bad at it. That's it.
If you want to join us here, you can rant about guns on our air, and that's totally fine. You can bring up anything you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So I just thought that was an interesting story to share because there was some sort of suggestion of that news early on, but now it's crystal clear that it was actually an armed individual who interceded in this situation. And in a lot of places, the police will tell you not to do this stuff, right? They'll tell you, just call the police and hide. Well, if he had done that, then who knows how many other people this maniac would have been able to murder. The church apparently held about 50 people. Now, I don't know how full it was on this particular day, but it was full enough to have 26 victims, and I don't know if anyone else has passed. That was the number on Sunday. So at least 24 plus people perished in this situation. And this guy, I saw the headlines today, was like literally going row to row checking for living people and like point blank executing children. I mean, this obviously it's sick to do anything like this in the first place, but I mean, this guy was sicker than your average sicko. And so you had some hero nearby who was willing to put his own life and limb at risk and to jeopardy just to try to help these folks, and he did. So kudos to him, and hopefully Texas won't be bringing him up on some sort of criminal charges for careening through the streets chasing this guy at 90 miles an hour. That would really be ridiculous. But it wouldn't surprise me because some governments in some places would absolutely try to throw charges at somebody who you didn't just cower and, wait for the police to arrive? Well, we've got laws around here that say...
You killed that man. Yeah. You're going to need to go to jail.
That can happen.
It happens.
Yep.
My favorite was the shopkeeper that kept having his place burglarized, and he put up some kind of electric fence situation in the ceiling because he believed people were coming through. Somebody attempted to burglarize. They got electrocuted in the ceiling.
Really?
And the shopkeeper was sued for sort of wrongful death or something like that and charged criminally for, preventing thefts that the cops weren't preventing.
Wow.
There's an organization of people out there that are supposed to stop crime, and when they fail to stop crime and you show that they fail to stop crime, you go to jail.
The police aren't very good at stopping crime.
They're not supposed to.
They kind of clean up the mess afterwards and investigate.
They're just the janitorial crew for dead bodies.
There's more on the way. Well, not even that, Mark. Around here, one of our friends was the person that the police hired to be the janitorial crew. So they come in, take some pictures, and maybe pull some prints and do some investigating. But the actual cleanup is done by professionals who know how to clean up a body and blood and whatever else spills out of them. 855-450 free.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, November 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.07 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,118. Antiwar.com reports making it less and less clear what Saudi Arabia's ultimate intentions in the Yemen war are at this point. Reports out of Riyadh say that the Saudi-backed Yemeni government is effectively under house arrest within the Saudi capital and being actively prevented from returning to southern Yemen. Saudi Arabia invaded Yemen in 2015, vowing to reinstall President Hadi, who had previously resigned and whose term in office had long run out. After Saudi forces captured the southern coast of Yemen, they made a big show of sending Hadi and other officials from his government in exile to the port city of Aden, making it a temporary capital of Yemen. Hadi's been falling out of favor, however, particularly with Saudi allies in the United Arab Emirates, who don't like how many of his political allies are linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. Forces from the UAE have taken over a growing number of places in southern Yemen, though to what end isn't totally clear. Either way, Hadi came back to Saudi Arabia for meetings in February and has not been allowed to go back to Yemen since. Though the Saudis never officially detained him, in August he went to the airport intent on buying a ticket to fly back to Aden and was rebuffed. The rest of his family and all cabinet members within Riyadh are similarly being kept from flying back to Yemen. Saudi officials say they aren't confident Hadi would be safe in southern Yemen, but this has apparently been the case for nearly an entire year now, and it's increasingly doubtful they intend on ever letting him back into Yemen, raising questions of what Yemen is going to look like in the long term, especially if the Saudis continue to maintain it will be ruled by Hadi. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. UPI reports Florida State University President John Thrasher indefinitely suspended all fraternity and sorority activity at the school on Monday. Thrasher said he wanted to send a serious message to Greek organizations on campus after the death of a 20-year-old Pi Kappa Phi pledge, Andrew Coffey, and the arrest of 20-year-old Garrett John Marcy, a Phi Delta Theta fraternity member accused of selling cocaine. Thrasher said for this suspension to end, there will need to be a new normal for Greek life at the university. There must be a new culture, and our students must be full participants in creating it. A ban on alcohol was also instituted for all student events, including those run by the more than 700 organizations outside of the fraternity and sorority system. Police suspected alcohol as a possible factor in Coffey's death. Coffey was trying to become a full member of the FSU chapter of Pi Kappa Phi, which has faced sanctions for hazing, alcohol violations, and unspecified misconduct within the past 5 years. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday overturned a lower court ruling that an Alabama man convicted of killing a police officer in 1985 was no longer legally eligible to be executed because strokes wiped out his memory of committing the murder. The 9 justices ruled unanimously that the state of Alabama can execute 67-year-old Vernon Madison. They said Supreme Court precedent had not established that a prisoner is incompetent to be executed because of the failure to remember his commission of the crime. Madison has suffered several strokes in recent years, resulting in dementia and memory impairment. He is legally blind, cannot walk on his own, and speaks with a slur. Justice Stephen Breyer, a death penalty critic, wrote in a separate opinion that Madison's case illustrated the unconscionably long periods of time that prisoners often spend on death row awaiting execution. The amount of time condemned inmates spend on death row has increased from 7 years in 1985 to more than 19 years in 2017. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is The Onion Week in Review. Researchers at the University of Washington report that they have successfully trained 7-year-old chimpanzee Makoko to do all of the tasks necessary to conduct a 3-year study on primates. According to the scientists, Makoko has efficiently learned to turn in thorough analyses of behavior in chimpanzees, fill out all of the necessary paperwork to ensure compliance with the Animal Welfare Act, and even apply for supplemental grant funding from the National Institutes of Health. Sources within your office reported today that the guy on the 3rd floor with 2 computer screens on his desk is not f***ing around. Co-workers said that the man, currently working with at least 3 programs open on each screen, was absolutely tearing it up, with sources adding that watching the man run a group video chat while dragging 2 separate Google documents to his 2nd screen was like something out of f***ing Minority Report or something.
Jesus, he's just dragging things from one screen to the other like it's nothing. He's going balls to the wall over there. Christ, man, I don't think he's blinked in 3 minutes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and Skype username here is LRN.FM. In the studio with you tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Still to come here tonight, we're going to go over into some UK news where apparently there are certain surgeries that are being taken or may be taken off of the table as far as options for people with their supposed free healthcare system over there. Mark's got that story on the way. And then also news about cameras being put in high school bathrooms. Johnson will tell us about that disturbing story. But actually, I've got an update on a case that we've been following probably more off than on, just simply because a lot of stuff we rely on you guys to let us know what's going on. I just happened to see this on the social medias there during the top of the hour. It's about New Jersey Weedman. New Jersey Weedman. Now,
he's been on the show quite a few times.
He's been on the show a few times. He is a great activist on the cannabis, front, and has made a real name for himself out there for doing what it takes to keep the idea of legalization and ending criminal penalties for cannabis possession in the limelight, into the public discussion arena. And he, of course, has been targeted and punished for that. And the most recent targeting was earlier, I think it must have been earlier this year, when his businesses were raided in Trenton, New Jersey. He had set up a church, and then next to that there was a restaurant that he'd put up, and the cops came in and they raided the place, and they arrested him, and they arrested his associates, and they've just been targeting him and trying to attack him. Now, he had opened up his restaurant right across the street from, I believe, City Hall or the police department. So I got to love the guys.
He wasn't hiding.
He's got some huevos, and I love him. And he took the stand on Wednesday. Apparently, his trial has been happening with a witness tampering case, which has now come to a close. Fortune, according to NJ.com's Olivia Rizzo, initially hesitated when taking the court oath before testifying, commenting that he was unable to tell the whole truth because he's unable to talk about his pending cases. After being instructed by Mercer County Superior Court Judge Anthony Massey that he had to accept the oath in order to testify, Fortune ultimately took it and was questioned by his standby counsel, Christopher Campbell. Throughout his direct questioning, Fortune says that he used his social media accounts like a modern-day journal, and that all of the information he posted online about the witness was accessible through public records. So the witness, for those that don't know, in this case is the ostensible undercover agent who had infiltrated the restaurant and the church. So he had come in there into the church. He had attempted to, make purchases of marijuana, hung out there, and was there undercover. So he wasn't an undercover officer, but he was an informant, right? So somebody who the police had arrested at some point and had then flipped to go and do their bidding for them. When the bust happened and the raid happened, they figured out who the snitch was.
Sure.
And
as so often happens.
Right. And they figured out who it was, and they put information out there about who it was. So other people who encounter this particular snitch would know, oh, you're so-and-so. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the guy's name, but we had talked about him before. Oh, you're that guy. well, I'm not going to trust you because I heard you were the guy that snitched out New Jersey Weedman. And apparently the government's trying to say that that's witness tampering, to simply reveal what is public information about somebody who came into your place of business and was trying to set you up. To me, that's a public service to provide that information.
So you're putting a value judgment on it.
Yeah, there's value in letting people know who snitches are. Absolutely, there's value there.
But from a freedom of speech standpoint, you should absolutely be able to talk about who was in your business and maybe you took some pictures or whatever.
For sure. Let's see here. The judge, Anthony Massey, had to repeatedly tell Fortune he could not direct Campbell while on the witness stand. He once mumbled, "Ask a follow-up question" to Campbell. Assistant Mercer County Prosecutor Stephanie Katz questioned Fortune about comments he made in a Facebook video in which he says if the judge signed the protective order, he's going to ignore it. Fortune said that it was locker room talk and bravado. Katz also questioned Fortune on the multiple letters and packages he sent to the witness's family and had prepared to send to the witness's neighbors. Fortune admitted he didn't know any members of the witness's family and had never met them before, but said he sent the letters because he was trying to serve the witness with a lawsuit. Fortune was the only witness for the defense due to the fact that he did not file proper witness discovery before the trial started.
Yeah, this will be a completely fair trial.
Fortune said during his closing statements, quote, basically it comes down to a couple pieces of mail. I never once said I didn't want him to come to court. I wanted him to come to court yesterday. I wanted him to come to court today, he said of the witness, who has not been identified and did not testify at the trial. Fortune told the jury it was true that he made postings on social media about the witness and that he sent mail to the witness's family members. He said that although he called the witness names and was rude, that didn't make him guilty of a crime, and that the language he used is protected under the First Amendment. Now, is it legal to even talk to a witness against you before, a trial actually happens? I know it's generally considered something you don't want to do, but is it actually illegal to just simply try to contact that person?
To try to contact a witness before trial?
Yeah.
I would think so. Now,
because if you're trying to intimidate them into something, then that's obviously
But if you're filing a subpoena, which is what his intention was, I mean, he's trying to get this. He's trying to file a civil suit on this guy, right?
Supposedly.
Then that's not the same thing.
Quote, "You're charged with convicting me of a crime, not being an ass," Fortune said. "If I thought this was criminal at the time, I wouldn't have done it," unquote. At the end of his remarks, Fortune began to ask the jury to send him back home to his family, and Katz, the prosecutor, loudly objected, and the two began speaking over one another until the judge requested a sidebar. Katz said during her final statements, quote, "This is not a case of whodunit. This is not a case about motive. This is not a case about the First Amendment," unquote. She told the jury this was a case about Fortune's conduct and to look at all the circumstances of the case. "He attacked the heart of the criminal justice system," said Katz, "and he attacked the love a parent has for a child and a child has for a parent." Huh? I don't get that one. The witness's wife and father testified this week about how scared they were and that they didn't know what was going on. "He plays by his rules only," said the prosecutor. "This was a game to him, and he was going to win by any means necessary."
Says the guy that's there that's going to go home no matter what.
It's a woman, but yes.
Okay, fine. That the person that's going to go home to their family no matter what. I mean, Fortune's sitting up here, New Jersey Weedman's sitting up here with a sentence hanging over his head.
That's right.
You can't really say somebody's not playing by the rules when you don't have skin in the game. Prosecutors should be on the line the same as the defendant.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the case. There's no consequences for a malicious prosecution or whatever. And this is complete malicious prosecution in the case of New Jersey Weedman. Keep in mind, this witness against him isn't like a witness in some sort of murder trial or some kind of rape or violent, act or whatever. New Jersey Weedman is accused of having a, marijuana place. He's accused of operating a business or a church, and both. He had a church next door to a business, to operating things where people were allowed by his rules to bring and to utilize and smoke and sell or trade cannabis on that property. That's what he's accused of doing. That's what they brought an undercover informant in to gather information about New Jersey Weedman and his associates. Because remember, not just was New Jersey Weedman arrested, but I think approximately a dozen or 11 of his associates were also arrested in this raid. Some of the employees or the people that were volunteering at the church, people who were ostensibly probably involved in sharing or selling some cannabis to this undercover informant. All of these people were arrested and charged criminally. So that's what we're talking about here. That's who this witness is. He's not some good guy who's, trying to, help the police convict a murderer or some sort of serial assault, committer. This guy is a scumbag. This informant is one of the lowest forms of life out there. Somebody who would actually roll over on people and set up peaceful cannabis users. That's who this guy is, and he deserves to be outed. He deserves to have people knowing who he is. He deserves to be run out of town by all the good people of Trenton, New Jersey. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Presumably the jury is still deliberating on this case. This was written on November 1st, so last week. Not sure what the status of the case is as of now. 855-450-FREE, like freedom, is our number. You can join us here and take control of the airwaves on Free Talk Live.
The young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed. But I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dog the chance at a new start with Dinovite. It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come.
859-428-1000. 859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll free here. Bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
Whole Food Multi-Complete. I'm sorry. And
Mark's here too.
Excuse me. Tell you about Whole Food Multi-Complete. Whole Food Multi-Complete is much more than a multivitamin. It has contained within it a vitamin mineral supplement, an enzyme blend, a probiotic blend, an antioxidant blend, an immune support blend, a bone and joint support blend, and an energy support blend. So they have much, much more than whatever you're buying at the grocery store, because for 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been providing what the other companies won't, the perfect blend of supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. You can visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more. You enter coupon code FTL. You receive 10% off your order, every time. Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. Yes, they do take Bitcoin. I lost 10 to 15 pounds just from the probiotic blend that balanced my gut out. So it's simplifymysupplements.com. You may benefit in the same way. Use coupon code FTL. Simplifymysupplements.com.
All right, our toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. As we learn more about the New Jersey Weedman situation, we will definitely update you about that. I'm sure his troubles won't be over even if he manages to get through this witness tampering trial. But, Johnson, let's change gears here. You had a story out of the UK about high schools that are actually installing cams in the bathrooms.
Yeah, it seems that is what is going on, and it's a lot of, it has people very extremely perturbed, sort of running out of the schools.
Running out?
Well, there are girls that are terrified to go into the bathroom, boys that are terrified to go into the bathroom because they're afraid that they're being spied on, while they're kids and they want to go and
I think a lot of people would be disturbed by
I think so, but I think kids in particular, if you're going, you just want to go to school and you're there, you're trapped in this prison all day long. Sure. And you just need to go to the bathroom and they feel like they can't even do that. So the article here starts off talking about Windsor Charter Academy in Colorado is under fire by parents of students.
I'm sorry. I thought this was the UK. So it came from a UK source, but it's actually Colorado?
I believe so. Activist Post. I actually did think that this was in the UK, but apparently it's the United States.
All right.
Which is insane. It's doubly insane, I think.
Well, this sounds like a private school. Windsor Academy?
Yep. Charter Academy.
It's Charter?
Yeah, Charter Academy in Colorado. Under fire by parents of students for its decision to install cameras in its high school bathrooms. KDVR Fox reported. Windsor Charter Academy Executive Director Rebecca Teeples stated that the installation of cameras improves safety for students while helping to secure the building.
I can see the argument, in that if, let's say, there's some bully or whatever who wants to beat up somebody, he knows that there are cameras all around the school except for in the bathrooms, and so that could be a place where one could go and victimize another person.
And this may be a little bit of a non-issue, I think, in my personal opinion here, because apparently the stalls in the bathroom go from the floor to the ceiling.
So they can't see in the stall.
At all.
Okay.
So hand washing is what they're viewing?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. And anything that goes on, kids trying to do whatever they do in the bathroom besides be whatever they would do in the stalls. Who knows what that is?
I don't know what else is going on. I was in high school. Seemed like smoking was going on in the bathrooms.
Were people smoking in the bathrooms in high school?
Oh yes, that was happening.
I'm surprised. It would seem so obvious, so easy to catch something like that.
I mean, smoking was allowed in this school for some period.
Oh, wow. This is way back then.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I went to high school between 1985 and 1989.
The three things that I can imagine going on in high school bathrooms that they would want to control are smoking, dealing, and hanky-panky.
Yeah.
Yeah, no hanky-panky that I know of occurred in the high school. Dealing, they probably went on in a variety of different places because drugs are small,
right?
And
the bathroom would probably be a popular spot because it's going to be fairly relatively private.
Yeah, but there's going to be people there. You might as well just shake hands in the hallway.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. Smoking.
Tell me more.
Okay, so it says here, we had surveillance cameras in our plans from the very start. It was part of the design of the new wing, Teeple said. We want to make sure our students are safe and secure. Parents are up in arms about the decision, which they said violates the students' rights to privacy. You don't have any rights.
Nope, not in a government school.
Not in a government school.
They taught me this when I was actually in school. And I remember being upset. There was some sort of thing where I got called to the principal's office, and I mean that happened more than a few times. But at one of those times, I remember asking about, well, what about the right to free speech? I forget what the issue at hand was, and I was just told flat out, you don't have those rights here. And it's true because a lot of them sign their rights away when they start the school year. They're given like the parent-student handbook. And both the parent and the student, I believe, are supposed to sign those things. I don't remember that when I was...
You're only signing it to acknowledge what's in it. You're not signing away your right to free speech.
How do you know that?
It wouldn't make. Are you telling me that if I show up to school and they forget to have me sign the student handbook, that suddenly I have free speech? I mean, don't be ridiculous.
I see what you're saying.
They operate the school the way they operate the school. You've been given the rules on how the school operates. The school doesn't have free speech because it is incompatible with education.
The way they do education.
No, you can't stand. Okay, Ian, I'm up front teaching geometry, and
that's the way they do education.
Autistic kid.
There are other places
in the front
where
seat.
they don't do that.
It's incompatible with education as they understand education. Fine. Then the kid who wants to stand in the front row can yodel. That's not education, though, Ian.
I didn't say it was.
I'm just making sure you understand.
I said that what I was saying is the model, the sort of the Prussian school model.
There are lots of school models that yodeling at the top of your lungs in the front of the class are incompatible with.
Sure, unless you're in a yodeling class.
Only yodeling class. So,
all I'm saying is that there are some schools where freedom of speech might be actually treasured as opposed to shut down.
Not a government school.
That's right.
The first word that comes to mind is disgusting, Trevor Garrett said. I never thought
Wait, who is Trevor Garrett?
Trevor Garrett's one of the parents.
Okay.
He's
disgusted by the cameras.
Yeah, I never thought it would be in anyone's mind to put cameras in bathrooms anywhere. Garrett added that he also worries about the students who might get changed in the restrooms for after-school activities or other circumstances where students might be exposed outside of the stalls. My gut reaction
that could happen.
Yeah, my gut reaction is I'm a father. I want to protect my children, and I'm going to protect my kids in here. Garrett said, I think that when we sacrifice privacy for the sake of safety, it's a very slippery slope.
Well, that's a good thing to say, but look, Dad, if you really want to protect your kids, get them out. Get them out of there entirely.
Yeah.
Because this is just, the final straw, I think, hopefully for a lot of people. I'm sure for plenty, they're just totally fine with this. And they'll tell themselves, well, anything if they'll be safe.
Of all the things I've heard from government schools, this does not sound like the craziest.
No, I'll give you that. Especially given that I think a lot of people will jump to the conclusion that this is in the stalls, and it's not.
Yeah.
So there is that aspect of it. If you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We'll see if there's more to share coming up here in moments, and you can bring up anything you want on Free Talk Live.
This just in. Before your doctor gives you another antibiotic prescription that you don't want, get this free report, The Miracle of Garlic, your first home medicine. This free report is filled with easy kitchen remedies for common colds, flus, sore throats, ear infections, and more. Plus, learn to boost your immunity before you get sick. Go now to gcnwellness.com. Just like it sounds, gcnwellness.com to get your free report, The Miracle of Garlic. Click gcnwellness.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username lrn.fm. Also, want to let you know about Blink Home Security. There's a system that is like the easiest security system you'll ever install. If you have ever had experience with this stuff, it's a hassle. You deal with the wires, the drilling, the holes, the running the wires down through walls. I mean, you can get all kinds of, spend a lot of money on installing a home security system. Not so with Blink Home Security. You just order the Blink Home Security cams. You can get 3 cams for the price of what some of the other guys charge for 1 by going to blinkprotect.com/FTL. It comes with like an interface box. You plug that in. You put the batteries in the cams, and there's an easy Wi-Fi based kind of connection that you have to make with like your cell phone or tablet. Super easy to do. So you just connect to the Wi-Fi and you do all the setup that way, and then you put the app on your phone and then it sends
you can check it anytime you want, too.
Yeah,
Not only do you get notifications when something moves in front of the cameras, when they're set up to, because I mean you can do different times or whatever.
Right.
But you also can look anytime you want. I'm looking at my living room right now.
There it is.
And nothing's
What's going on in there?
Nothing.
All right. So blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's where you can go to get yours. We've got them installed. Mark, there's some in your house. There's one here at the studio as well. Blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. All right, let's continue here. Johnson, you were telling us about a charter school out in Colorado that apparently they do different age ranges, but they've put in cameras in the high school bathrooms specifically.
Right.
And people are understandably upset. They're concerned about this. Some parents are saying this is an invasion of privacy, although the argument, I think the counter argument would be that, well, no, it's not, because we don't have the cameras in the stalls themselves. So there's still privacy within the stall, but in the bathroom, I think this is an interesting issue because, I mean, Mark, as you said, this isn't the most outrageous thing in the world that we've heard schools doing. Certainly zero tolerance is a heck of a lot more. There's a lot of other things that they do that are pretty ridiculous.
Do you have a problem with cameras in hallways at schools?
I don't have a problem with the idea of cameras in a business to protect a business from whatever bad things might happen. In the case of schools, bad things do happen at schools. People are victimized on school property, and I'm not just talking about the students being victimized by the teachers, but students frequently victimizing one another. Bullying is not, when we were all growing up, bullying was a thing. Some of us may have been bullied, some of us may have been the bully, some of us may have done both of those things in our lives. And if somebody's getting beaten up in the bathroom, then it kind of makes sense to have some video footage of that. I don't know. I don't feel real strongly against this particular policy because you can still have your privacy in the stall, right? But Johnson, was there more that you wanted to share from the story?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, just to recap, this guy Garrett says, my gut reaction is I'm a father. I want to protect my children, and I'm going to protect any kids in here. Garrett said, I think that we sacrifice privacy for the sake of safety, or when we sacrifice privacy for the sake of safety, it's a very slippery slope. At what point does it cross that threshold and violate rights? I think in this situation, this violates rights, Garrett added. Garrett's daughter echoed his statement, saying, it makes me really uncomfortable going in there. Teeples further added that only school administration and the IT team will have access to the footage. And if that makes it any better...
Don't worry, there's no creepers whatsoever in school administration or the IT teams. We swear.
Yeah. And if that makes it any better, that anyone will have access to the viewing the footage of teenagers in a bathroom. What's more... Wait. As if that makes it any better that anyone will have access to viewing footage.
Is this the opinion of the article?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
What's more is that Teeples claims that this measure will help improve the safety of students. And when any of these listed school officials can review tapes of these teens in the bathroom, right? So somehow school officials being able to review a tape far after the fact, somehow that's going to improve the safety of the students, seems unlikely.
Well, it will catch, if there's somebody who gets roughed up in the bathroom, you could catch who the culprit was.
Possibly well after the fact.
Oh, yeah. I mean, generally you catch people after the fact when they do things like that.
Maybe. But now that they're all going to be aware of the cameras, they
rough people up
in the bathroom.
Rough them up in the stall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if going into the bathroom can be a scary thing for some kids in public school, if it makes that somehow safer, then at least there's a lock on the door.
If you think there's a group of toughs in there waiting for you or something,
sure.
Right?
Well, what's scary is this isn't the first case of such an outrageous privacy invasion, and what's even crazier is that this was proposed in the very same week on the other side of the pond in the UK as well.
Okay.
A secondary school at Summerhill School in Kingswinford, West Midlands, UK, is rethinking a decision to install CCTV cameras after students complained that they are scared to go into the bathroom. Although, in this case, the cameras are quite literally on the urinals in the boys' bathroom.
That's a little different.
Yeah. Whoever had this idea and thought that it was okay should be investigated. And then again, this is the beginning of the article. One mother told the Birmingham Mail, "My children have refused to go to the toilet in school. They feel like they are being watched. They said, 'Can we ring you to take us home to use the toilet?' Some are saying it's..." Why don't you just break the cameras, kids?
Well, they're going to get in trouble if they do that.
Some are saying, get in trouble. But
they'll just put more cameras in.
Do from the side.
They'll put more cameras in, and they
raise
will
the cost. Good. Make each camera cost $1 million because you've broken thousands of them.
Yeah, I wonder. Of course, I find myself wondering where, in relation to the urinals. They said they're in the front. Does that mean they're pointing? Like, are we getting the view of the the child that's using the urinal and sort of their face as they're using it?
Yeah.
Or what is that?
What do you need the picture of the? What do you need the child's face at the urinal for?
I don't know.
John
it's weird.
Thomas.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. The creepiest of these, that's pretty creepy, is the school that was sending kids home with the laptops and then checking in on the cameras,
turning the cams on.
Yeah,
like in the middle of the night or late in the evening,
whatever it
just to
is
see,
that they're
see
doing.
what they're up to.
Yeah, wonder what high school kids are up to in front of a computer.
That's
sometimes
pretty creepy for sure.
Yeah. Well, another mother said, "My son has come back and he doesn't want to go to the toilet. It's shocking. They may have problems going on. May have problems going on in the toilets, but they can't do this, surely." A friend of mine said her daughter came home in tears because she was too scared to use the loo all day, and she nearly wet herself in class. It's so intrusive and creepy. 5 years ago, research led by the campaign group Big Brother Watch found more than 200 schools across Britain use CCTV cameras in schools' bathrooms or changing rooms, raising the concern about the privacy of school children, The Guardian reported. The school officials argued that the cameras are to combat bullying and vandalism, but as Benjamin Franklin said, those who give up liberty for security deserve neither.
You already gave it up when you sent your kids to the government school. Sorry to let you know that, folks, but you gave up all your liberty when you let the government take care of your kids all day long.
Yeah.
Afraid so.
Public school is becoming more and more like a prison for the U.S. and U.K. Prisoners have a camera on them in the bathroom, not students going to a school of higher learning to get an education. This is just more indoctrination to accept the nanny state.
No,
I'm actually a little surprised as I was reading this. It came from the Activist Post, and it's just interesting. So this author, I got to the bottom of the article to see that this author is Aaron Kessel, who writes for Activist Post. But apparently he's also the director of content for another site called Coinivore, which is a Bitcoin-related site. And and he also is on Steemit as well. So clearly
Man's got to make a living.
What?
Man's got to make a living.
Well, yeah, but this is also clearly somebody who's got some good views.
No doubt. It's hard to get too upset about this from my perspective because I can understand the arguments for it. But I want to hear, if you want to comment, you want to weigh in here, you're welcome to join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. But again, if bullying is your concern, and that's a legitimate concern for a lot of kids and their parents, you shouldn't be sending them to the government schools anyway. Those are just zones of abuse as far as I'm concerned. Even if it's not like physical bullying, there's a lot of mental kind of bullying that goes on. People making fun of and putting down others. It's just not a real positive environment for a lot of the people that go to these schools. So get your kids out of the government schools and then your problem's solved. More coming up. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Liquid Chops, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
This just in. Before your doctor gives you another antibiotic prescription that you don't want, get this free report, The Miracle of Garlic, your first home medicine. This free report is filled with easy kitchen remedies for common colds, flus, sore throats, ear infections, and more. Plus, learn to boost your immunity before you get sick. Go now to gcnwellness.com. Just like it sounds, gcnwellness.com to get your free report, The Miracle of Garlic. Click gcnwellness.com.
Actual testimonials from real Numanna customers.
I've tried all kinds of food storage, and Numanna is by far the best.
I'm a single mom with 2 teenage boys and a full-time job. I don't always have time to cook a 4-course meal. That's where Numanna has been such a blessing. I can spend less time in the kitchen and more time on what matters most, like helping with homework.
Find out for yourself. Order online at thepowermall.com. That's thepowermall.com. Numanna is
food stores I love to eat. Yum!
Thepowermall.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Of course, you can bring up anything that is on your mind. And don't forget, you can get interactive over at freetalklive.com. If you like our show and you want to help support Free Talk Live, then become an amplifier over at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And it's a simple concept. You send $5 a month into the show. We'll take it in and invest it into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country, bring more internet listeners on board, exposing new people to the ideas of freedom. So if you love liberty and you want to get more of that on the airwaves in the United States and around the globe, then you can support the AMP program and get some cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, AMP-only podcast, and more. Get all the details. Don't forget the AMP-only Facebook group as well. So get the details, get signed up. You can use Bitcoin, you can use PayPal, you can use credit cards. So head on over to amp.freetalklive.com. All right, so you can bring up whatever you want. We've been talking about the United Kingdom and America, where there are schools that have actually installed cameras in school bathrooms to some level of controversy. But Mark, you've got something that's even more critical as far as the health of individuals. Some people are possibly going to be denied certain surgeries, right, over in the UK?
Yep, two issues are the cause of a plethora of diseases and health conditions affecting people worldwide: smoking and obesity.
No doubt about it.
One local health committee in the UK has announced a controversial policy to support patients whose health is at risk from smoking or being very overweight. For an indefinite amount of time, it plans to ban access to routine or non-urgent surgery under the National Health Service until patients improve their health. The policy states, claiming that exceptional clinical circumstances will be taken into account on a case-by-case basis. The decision comes from the clinical commissioning group known as the CCG for the county of I don't have any idea where these places are. Hertfordshire, which is a population of 1.1 million. The time frame for improving health is set at 9 months for the obese in particular. Those with a body mass index over 40 must reduce the number by 15% over the period of 9 months, and those with a BMI over 30 are given a target of 10% over 9 months.
Okay.
The target for smokers is 8 weeks or more without a cigarette, with a breath test to prove it. Not sure what a breath test might tell you.
I don't know. So tell you if you've been smoking, I guess.
I can tell you that, when I smoked cigars regularly, it was hard to get insurance because they would ask you, are you a smoker? And I'd be like, well, do cigars count? And they're like, I don't know.
It is smoke entering your mouth.
Right. They don't know because cigars are generally smoked differently than cigarettes.
Right. You're not supposed to inhale them, right?
And they're generally not smoked nearly as frequently. So if you smoke a cigar once every 2 weeks, are you a smoker? And this is a question.
Technically, yes.
This is a question that insurance companies could not answer some years ago when I was looking into this. Now, I was smoking more than once every 2 weeks, I can assure you, but they didn't have an answer for that particular question. The new and most controversial part of the policy is that surgery ban is indefinite. According to the Royal College of Surgeons in the UK, which opposes the policy, other groups in the UK have implemented similar policies, but patients eventually get surgery if they're unable to lose the weight or stop smoking, they said. The guidance for general practitioners and...
But now they won't be, right?
Getting...
So it said patients... could get the surgeries if they were unable to lose the weight, but now they're saying they won't.
It's not a hard and fast rule. They can just tell you you're not going to get your surgery, basically, is what it comes down to.
They couldn't do that before.
You are at our mercy if your BMI is over 30.
And you're not doing anything to reduce it.
However, you will pay your taxes or you will go to prison, limey.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Like those are the choices. This is just how we said it was going to be all along.
What do you mean by that?
You
predicted this?
Wants to take over healthcare so the nannies can tell you how you can. Well, over there they did.
Right.
We can look at England and see what's going to happen.
This will happen here. Yeah.
Right. Okay. First they come for the fat people.
Yeah.
But you're not fat, so you don't say anything. Then they come for the smokers, but you quit smoking 10 years ago, so you don't say anything. Then they come for the people that eat red meat, and then you're like, whoa. How come they're coming after me? Well, they've got junk science on their side. That's why. Well, they're going to do what they want.
It's not junk science to say that smoking is bad for you, right?
No, but red meat certainly, the arguments against meat get a little shiftier. But I can assure you that the militant vegans will be moving into those bureaucratic positions that control the diet of Americans.
I go with the Demolition Man theory. It's smoking, then red meat, then salt, then bad language.
Wait, was that Demolition Man?
Yeah.
Okay. The guy down in the sewers or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's also like the trailer for Escape from L.A. as well. Yeah. That's in there, too.
There's a lot of stuff like that in both of those movies, yeah.
Which they both came out at about the same time, like 1994, 1995, 1996.
So if you ever think that it would be great if the government handled healthcare because it's gotten so expensive, it's expensive because the government was handling healthcare in the first place. Before the implementation of Obamacare, the government controlled 2 out of every 3 cents spent in healthcare.
Okay, I'm going to play a devil's advocate here and take on the other side of this. But Mark, this is clearly what we need, right? This is a reason for centralized healthcare because now there's an incentive for these overweight people, for these smokers, to actually go ahead and clean up their act.
Why didn't we do that with insurance in the first place? Why didn't we let insurance companies decide that they wanted to create special groups for fat people instead of calling that discrimination? Why didn't we let insurance companies create special groups for smokers so that they could charge them more? Because you're right.
That's a great point.
Smokers and fat people, they cost more to insurance companies. They cost more to the government. They cost more in a healthcare system.
And that means that
But I shouldn't have to pay for it no matter what. And the government intervened, effed up the system, and then
took over.
Broke your leg and handed you a crutch like it does every single time. Please stop imagining that these incompetent sociopaths fix problems.
No doubt. Now, for those of us who actually value freedom, we understand that people should be free to make choices, but ultimately that also means they should also have to pay the consequences. So if you're going to smoke a bunch of cigarettes, then you shouldn't be expecting everybody else to pick up the tab for you when you need to have, your lungs cleared out or whatever it is that probably just end up dying.
Casket.
But yeah, whatever sort of surgery they would be talking about, there's some sort of surgery that they're going to be denying people for smoking.
By the sounds of it, they're denying everything to smokers. Like essentially,
Any
you get no
services
health care.
whatsoever.
I would presume broken bones are excluded and that sort of thing. But I mean, and honestly, if you're between the ages of 20 and 60, what do you need?
What do you mean? What do you need?
Well, what are you going to need from the healthcare system? You generally don't need that much.
Sure.
There's certainly outliers and people who get sick in that time frame and that sort of thing. But the vast majority of people are going to be pretty much fine from the ages of 20 to 60 unless there's a traumatic accident or something to that effect.
So we see this where the government in the United States is slowly moving into more and more control over healthcare. They already control, as of a decade or two ago, they'd already controlled more than 50% of the dollars that are spent in healthcare. But now that we've got this consolidation of the insurance business, you're seeing fewer and fewer options in the insurance marketplace. And I'm not even a big fan of insurance at all to begin with. It covers up from
great
costs.
If it's not stifled, okay?
Yeah.
So an insurance company can't offer currently some kind of deductible for
custom programs.
Right.
Opting
I want
out.
a group program for males between the ages of 40 and 50 that are non-smokers, that are not obese, and whatever comes with that. I want that group.
But you can't have it.
Give me that group, and then I want a deductible of $10,000 and blah, 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 right? So I'm only covering people who are like me. I'm part of that group. I don't want to cover 20-year-old heroin addicts. I don't want to cover octogenarians that have smoked all their lives, presuming they made it that long.
But now they're mandated to cover all those people.
Well, that's the problem, is that we predicted on this show multiple times. No one's ever going to, call in and say, oh, you guys are right. We predicted multiple times the government's getting involved in healthcare to mess it up so that they can then step in and do single payer. Obamacare was never intended to work.
Yep.
They knew it wasn't going to work. The government doesn't work, people.
No, they sure don't. They do work at, extracting money and obedience from you pretty effectively. Like they're pretty good at that. Continually extracting your money and your obedience, and all the while destroying this particular industry, destroying the availability of healthcare, destroying the innovations in healthcare because of all of its government regulations that just get in the way and lead to unnecessary death and suffering. 855-450 free, like freedom. Free Talk Live.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, November 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.07 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,118. Antiwar.com reports making it less and less clear what Saudi Arabia's ultimate intentions in the Yemen war are at this point. Reports out of Riyadh say that the Saudi-backed Yemeni government is effectively under house arrest within the Saudi capital and being actively prevented from returning to southern Yemen. Saudi Arabia invaded Yemen in 2015, vowing to reinstall President Hadi, who had previously resigned and whose term in office had long run out. After Saudi forces captured the southern coast of Yemen, they made a big show of sending Hadi and other officials from his government in exile to the port city of Aden, making it a temporary capital of Yemen. Hadi's been falling out of favor, however, particularly with Saudi allies in the United Arab Emirates, who don't like how many of his political allies are linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. Forces from the UAE have taken over a growing number of places in southern Yemen, though to what end isn't totally clear. Either way, Hadi came back to Saudi Arabia for meetings in February and has not been allowed to go back to Yemen since. Though the Saudis never officially detained him, in August he went to the airport intent on buying a ticket to fly back to Aden and was rebuffed. The rest of his family and all cabinet members within Riyadh are similarly being kept from flying back to Yemen. Saudi officials say they aren't confident Hadi would be safe in southern Yemen, but this has apparently been the case for nearly an entire year now, and it's increasingly doubtful they intend on ever letting him back into Yemen, raising questions of what Yemen is going to look like in the long term, especially if the Saudis continue to maintain it will be ruled by Hadi. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. UPI reports Florida State University President John Thrasher indefinitely suspended all fraternity and sorority activity at the school on Monday. Thrasher said he wanted to send a serious message to Greek organizations on campus after the death of a 20-year-old Pi Kappa Phi pledge, Andrew Coffey, and the arrest of 20-year-old Garrett John Marcy, a Phi Delta Theta fraternity member accused of selling cocaine. Thrasher said for this suspension to end, there will need to be a new normal for Greek life at the university. There must be a new culture, and our students must be full participants in creating it. A ban on alcohol was also instituted for all student events, including those run by the more than 700 organizations outside of the fraternity and sorority system. Police suspected alcohol as a possible factor in Coffey's death. Coffey was trying to become a full member of the FSU chapter of Pi Kappa Phi, which has faced sanctions for hazing, alcohol violations, and unspecified misconduct within the past 5 years. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday overturned a lower court ruling that an Alabama man convicted of killing a police officer in 1985 was no longer legally eligible to be executed because strokes wiped out his memory of committing the murder. The 9 justices ruled unanimously that the state of Alabama can execute 67-year-old Vernon Madison. They said Supreme Court precedent had not established that a prisoner is incompetent to be executed because of the failure to remember his commission of the crime. Madison has suffered several strokes in recent years, resulting in dementia and memory impairment. He is legally blind, cannot walk on his own, and speaks with a slur. Justice Stephen Breyer, a death penalty critic, wrote in a separate opinion that Madison's case illustrated the unconscionably long periods of time that prisoners often spend on death row awaiting execution. The amount of time condemned inmates spend on death row has increased from 7 years in 1985 to more than 19 years in 2017. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Poets across the nation issued a statement Thursday announcing that shadows, inky sharp as the raven's beak, meet the clouds like dusty charcoal on an ashen brow. Citing the ageless gloom of morning and a weary sun, its astroluminescence wrapped in arid gauze, the report noted that doubt lingers in the frail minutes of a young dawn.
For what is the sound of hope? For what is life's moment of fulfillment? The supple lie of spring prolongs the inquisition. Father! Father! Do you not sense the dread of autumn's looming song danced in trembling half-step? 1, 2, 1, 2.
The poets later added, womb, womb, womb. And in local news, a sad sack is bullied by an area goose. In other news, a photographer specializes in those pictures where lights going by really fast look like lines. An entree is apparently the kind you squeeze lime over, and employees finally get that break room bathtub they wanted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us on the radio here. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. We know that a lot of people out there are using smartphones. I mean, the smartphone explosion, of course, has happened over the last, I would say, mostly the last half decade or slightly longer than that. Of course, the iPhone came out in, I think, 2007, and things have just, blown up as far as adults and even young people with smartphones. They're just all over the place. But some people are choosing to ditch their smartphone in favor of the so-called dumb phone. Are you one of those? And if so, how's your life been? I mean, we just talked to Michelle Seven last night. She says she's been off of Facebook since 2011, and her life is great.
Well, she's caught up in Twitter.
Oh, she is on Twitter. That's a good point. But I would say that Twitter's not as bad as Facebook, but then again, I don't spend as much time there, so maybe it is as bad. I did hear that Twitter doubled their characters that they're going to allow people to tweet. So from 140 characters up to 280 characters. So anyway, let's continue here. We'll take your calls and thoughts. If you want to talk about dumb phones, we can do that. But first, Ricky is on the line in the Commonwealth. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky. Ricky in the Commonwealth, going once. Ricky in the Commonwealth, going twice. Well, he was supposedly on the line. The board operator just screened his call, so I don't know if he's having communications issues. I hear somebody there. Ricky, going once.
Oh, hello.
Hello, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm on the air?
You're on the air. Go ahead.
All right, brother. And your boy got a message for you then, all right? Anyways, that's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I don't know if you got my message. I heard that Jersey got a new governor.
Oh, is that right?
Ralph Noel.
What?
New Jersey has a new Democratic governor. Ralph's going to be moving, I hear.
Oh, okay. Ralph, our
I think
caller.
he should move to Ohio, personally. I think he should forget about the South. And that brings me to tonight's topic. I
Okay.
went out and voted today.
Hey, congratulations.
Yes, very important. We're creating, we're at the beginnings of a constitutional amendment out here. We're going to get rid of school taxes, left to the county, though.
Did your vote matter?
Yep, and I can tell you this, I'm an insider now. You're going to love this. I went to go vote. Yeah, it mattered in my district. Let's see here.
It passed
they
by
love
one
my
vote?
Confederate flag.
It passed or failed by one vote?
No, we're creating a constitutional amendment. It takes 2.5 years, brother.
All right.
All right, but now get this.
Just to be clear,
The-
it only matters if it passes or fails by one vote.
Well, I'm having trouble hearing you on the phone line. What was that, brother?
No, go right ahead. Ramble on.
No. Yeah, okay, because I went out and voted today, and I can tell you this, and I'm on good information. My district, the constable, keep waving that flag, brother. The judge, I talked to the judge that day, Commonwealth judge. We had a nice little talk. She loves the flag, too.
How did you talk to a
you know
judge?
what?
Where did you talk to a judge? How did you encounter a judge to talk to them?
Because there were some jackasses out front, gave me some trouble, and I had to
front of
talk
where?
to the judge in front of the church where I voted.
Okay. And where was the judge?
Inside.
She was
he was
just
real busy because people calling like crazy, harassing her down there.
Now, what was the judge doing? She was inside the polling location?
Yeah, they have a magistrate down there.
They have a magistrate sitting in the polling location in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania?
No. This is northeastern PA.
Okay. Why do you need a magistrate at a voting location? What's their job?
Because I'll tell you one of the reasons why. There was people out front because there was some scandals of some judges, and there was the two things up for reformation, along with this other question that I mentioned as far as the constitutional
I don't
amendment.
understand. That doesn't answer my question. Why is there a judge? Is she at work? Is she in like a judge's robe?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know anything about New Jersey, or excuse me, about Pennsylvania, so I can't say I have any understanding. Is this like a Commonwealth thing where they have judges that are on duty?
Especially today, because there was a problem, because there was people out front, and one of the things is what they were doing was bad because they were lobbying judges right in front of the polling place.
Okay.
Who was lobbying the judges?
These are guys from the right. These are right wingers. That's why she was there.
She was there because there were people out front who were lobbying judges?
On the table, like they had the tables out front.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were lobbying the judges because two of them are looking to step down. And see, the question, it was up for reformation. Should we keep them or not? Because they were looking to kick them out.
So these are so in Pennsylvania, the judges are elected positions, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
But
All
this
judges are
judge,
elected positions.
the judge in this case, or the magistrate, wasn't actually running for office, or was she?
No, she's in office. She's in office.
Uh-huh.
She's in office.
And she's there to judge what exactly? What is the magistrate's role at a polling location?
The reason why she was there, and I know why she was there, because the people out front, they gave me trouble. I wanted to talk to them, and they said, "You just want to start trouble with us."
Well, what does a
That's
judge
not
have
true.
to do with that? I don't. You're not making a connection here.
trying to explain
Is
to
anybody
you.
else here in the studio understanding what
No.
this is about?
I have no idea.
Why
The
would
reason,
a judge
okay,
would
here's
be
an
there?
example. Because the reason why is, hey, they even told me to go and talk to the judge. That Ricky Conwell will be more than happy to, because they try to start trouble with me. They're lobbying judges right in front of the polling place. You can't do that.
So the
This is a
judge
crime.
somehow stops that from happening? For how long were they
No,
lobbying?
She's there. She's there. She's obviously there if she needs to put forth charges, because these are Commonwealth people, and she's Commonwealth, the separation of state and
So
Commonwealth.
confusing. I got to
She needs be there
say,
to
you can
deal
have your
with it.
Commonwealth if you can keep it. Thanks for the call, Ricky. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. More words did not equal more clarification in that particular case. So back to the story here about smartphones. David Dahan of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, commenting to, of all places, Philadelphia.cbslocal.com. Track my sleep, track my workouts. I use it a lot for mobile banking, said Megan Kalea of Philly. Snapchat, laughed Alicia Dyson of North Philly. Gone are the days when phones used to simply talk or text. But what if we could just go back to that? Disconnect for a while, stress-free, said Patrice White. Christina Colon of Brooklyn, New York, wasn't so sure. She says, I don't think I'd be able to function going back. As Apple and Android release $1,000 smartphones with more features than ever, could Dumbphones be the next big seller? They have a couple of them that are actually surprisingly expensive, considering, they call themselves Dumbphones. You could pay $150 for a phone calling itself the Light Phone, which only makes and takes calls, transfers them straight from your smartphone, giving you a break from technology.
Wait a second. This is an Apple Watch shaped like a freaking telephone? Is that what's going on here?
I am not sure. I'm pulling up the Light Phone.
Bluetooth connected dumb phone for your smartphone.
That's what it sounds
Somebody
like. Yeah.
Shoot me now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm actually looking at it here. It has a man, like when you first go to the website, thelightphone.com, it's got a guy pulling the thing out of his wallet. So it's supposedly like credit card shaped sort of thing. Wow.
Isn't it just why not get just a Bluetooth earpiece?
Well, I guess the idea is you're supposed to use this thing instead of actually using your smartphone, which you then have on you and, of course, can easily use in like a fraction of a second. I don't get it. But there's more. The $295 Punkt phone, P-U-N-K-T, the Punkt phone, which lets you talk, text, set alarms, and use a calendar. According to punkt.ch, I'm looking at a picture of this here, and yeah, it looks like a, kind of a slimmer dumb phone from back in the day with more of a, actual buttons on the front of it. But you have to pay $300 for this thing? I mean, what? I can go and get a a refurbished Samsung Galaxy S5 smartphone for $100.
Are you sure that you didn't just get punked reading that news? Because it sounds like that's a joke. Punked. You got
Could very well be.
By buying a $300 dumb phone.
Nokia has launched a back-to-basics version of its mobile device, citing durability and battery life as reasons to buy. What about you? Are you willing to give up your smartphone? Have you given up your smartphone? How'd that go? It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Fireplaces and wood stoves are wonderful to have and provide low-cost heating, but they've got their drawbacks too. One of them is the increased likelihood that your home will burn. My primary advice is to never let fire into your home and make sure that you have an extinguisher on every floor and the garage, and that everyone knows how to use it. But if you love your wood stove, don't want to give it up, make sure that you keep things away from it and have a professional clean it every year. The pro will make sure the chimney is properly functioning also. Make sure to dispose of your ashes outside too. I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Are you making sense to the boomer mindset? I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. 80 million baby boomers comprise 25% of the population and control most of the USA's wealth. As aging parents pass on, they'll control more. Boomers are 46 to 65 years old and regard themselves as midlife. They identify as neither young nor old. They're post-minivan and pre-retirement, and they don't like being called boomers. They think me. Many of the purchases boomer couples make are individual purposes. They've been experimenters all their lives. If you want their attention, tell stories and keep it simple. If something seems complicated, boomers can dismiss it as, I don't need this. And if you're looking for work, you may be applying to a boomer, so relate accordingly. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the Bigot no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves toll free. Bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. You can also join us online. Just go to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we have for you there. You can also enjoy the MyPillow over at mypillow.com with code FTL. MyPillow, in case you're not aware of it, is designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using mine for well over a year and a half at this point. It's been pretty great. Mark, you also have
Love it.
The MyPillow. In fact, you were complaining because you didn't bring it with you down to Texas when we were recently there.
And my neck hurt.
Yep. Go to mypillow.com. Use code FTL. Like
if you want a spoiled neck like mine.
And get your MyPillow at half price. And don't forget, you can wash your MyPillow. You can wash and dry the MyPillow product. It's designed for that. For whatever reason, though, you don't like it, within the first 60 days, you can actually send it back to them, get your purchase price back to you. And if you do like it, as we do, then you hang on to it. And the pillow is guaranteed to last you for at least 10 years. MyPillow.com with code FTL for the discount. As we continue here, you, of course, can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Ian Johnson and Mark in the studio here. We were talking about the new Dumbphone. And there's a Guardian article about this punked thing. So even if it is a joke, Johnson, they appear to really actually be selling this thing. Like it's an actual product where you can pay. If for some reason you are just insane, you can pay $295 for one of these Dumbphones. Yeah. There's another phone that they mentioned in this article called the Light Phone, but that's not really a phone. It's an accessory for your smartphone that's supposed to, if you've got the mental fortitude to be able to not use your smartphone, then why would you want to buy another piece to a smartphone? Why not just get the straight-up Dumbphone and use that thing? Or if you want to save some money and have basically a dumb phone, just wipe everything off of a cheap smartphone. Go get one of those.
I sure do hate having a computer and all the information of the world at my fingertips, carrying around with me at all times. It sure is horrible. What a terrible future we have succumbed to?
Well, I can say this. The touchscreen is it's not very responsive. You don't know what you're hitting. Like, you don't know if you hit a 1 or a 2 when you're dialing.
Yeah.
So if people are dialing while they're driving or something like that, and, I'm sure this happens, a dumb phone is going to be a safer thing to have at that point.
That's
recall,
true. Especially when you got to hit a zillion keys just to open the phone.
Right. I recall the good old days. Now, with my car these days, got a new car recently.
Right.
You can, tell it, dial. And
Hey Siri, call Free Talk Live.
Right, you can do that.
Takes me about 2 seconds if I wanted to do that.
Well, I can tell you that I have swerved in my lane attempting to make to dial something on my smartphone because I didn't have it all hooked up through my car in the past. Whereas I would have my dumb phone, I'd flip it out. I can feel where the 5 button is because there's a little dot on it, so I know where every other button is. Without looking, I can dial 2, 3, 4, or 5 or whatever's on my memory, and dial. In all likelihood, 8 people, if you're going from 1 through 9, 8 people that I know well. That's the 8 most dialed numbers I've got right there on my phone. So I can.
That's how it used to be.
That's how it used to be. So there is some advantage to a dumb phone,
unless you know how to use your voice.
Well,
unless have one.
Yeah. Hold on. To get my Google Assistant to wake up, I've got to put in a code. And then I've got to swipe a couple of screens. I got to touch the Google Assistant, and I say, Google, could you go ahead and dial this thing after I've swiped all over hell and back?
I guess that's the way you have your phone set up, though.
I don't know how to set it up differently.
So you're saying that you can set the phone up to where it listens to you even if it's locked, and then will make calls?
Yeah, potentially. Or, like, for example, my phone, the unlocking function is not a matter of pressing a whole bunch of buttons on the phone. It's holding my finger to the phone.
But didn't we find out that the government can force you to do that?
Yeah, potentially.
So you're willing to take that risk?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's the price you pay for convenience.
I've also set up another feature on my phone where if I triple tap the phone, it's going to lock it and remove that fingerprint.
Oh, really?
Feature so that
Okay, that's
my
that's
phone's
handy.
unlocked. It won't be able to be unlocked without a passcode.
That's pretty handy.
Yeah. So.
So we're talking about the idea of these dumb phones that people are now getting into, as one author says who has evaluated the Punkt model. And he's also a phone reviewer, so he's reviewed top-of-the-line smartphones as well. Darren Zigadlo, the creator of OneCutReviews.com, says, quote, I think there's a lot to be said for a product that makes you nostalgic. He says, we've hit a point where we can pretty much do everything with these phones, and I think some people are finding themselves saying, what do I need all that for? And I don't agree. I don't think you can do everything with smartphones. In fact, I find using them to be, clumsy in a lot of cases. Yeah, you can do a lot with them, but I can do a heck of a lot more with a laptop in front of me. Switching between programs, copying, pasting, everything's faster when you use a laptop or a desktop computer. And, phones just are a slow way of doing things. But I got to agree, they are an important tool to have, especially if you want to have encrypted communications. Or at least purportedly encrypted communications. Signal, for instance, has come under fire recently. We never ended up interviewing that guy at the Texas Bitcoin conference. There was some guy there who was going to trash talk Signal, and we wanted to get him, but we never ended up getting him back.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with conventions. People show up at funny times expecting you to do the interview.
And most of the time we can, but in that case, we weren't able to. So I was curious to hear about what that was all about. But with a dumb phone, you can send a text, but that's all going to be in the clear, right? So the phone company that you have is going to be able to read every single text that you send if you have one of these dumb phones. So, I mean, there are reasons not to get the dumb phone. And I guess one reason people don't want the smartphones is because they don't trust themselves to be able to not use some of the features. And I understand, there's that constant notification, the dinging, you want to check it. You want to see what's going on. And some people have suggested that you should have certain times during the day at which you check your phone. Meaning that, rather than going every time you get a notice to unlock the phone and then open it up and then open the, texting or whatever messaging program you have, and doing that every single time you get a message, which is a time sync,
I think people should just take more time to set up the different sounds for different types of notifications so that you know which types of notifications you want to respond to. Set up notifications for certain people that you want to hear from. And make
Give them
sure
a special sound.
And make sure that they contact you in such a way that it will generate that sound.
That's a good thing to do.
I mean, it's
I
just
have that for a couple people.
People should just have this, better strategies for managing their information. And I think just most people just don't take the time to do so, or
maybe they don't know they can.
Yeah, I mean that could also
different
be
platforms make it harder to do different things too. I mean, it's not always easy to set this stuff up.
True.
And you have to have
don't use those platforms.
Well, and you have to know that you can
get
in
an
the first
iPhone
place.
And turn everything over to Apple.
Well, I'm just saying, don't necessarily use those platforms. Use something else, and make arrangements with people to try and use the best possible platform.
Every time I send any kind of cryptocurrency from my phone, I'm so happy I don't have an iPhone product.
Why?
Because they don't allow Koinomi and a whole variety of other.
Is that why Koinomi's not theirs? Because they don't allow it?
We know quite well that Jack's had a very difficult time updating their software because of Apple.
That's what they claimed. Yep. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, but is that the reason why Koinomi is not there? Are you speculating on that, or have you actually heard?
I'm speculating.
Okay. Just to clarify that.
It's nearly impossible to do crypto business on your iPhone. I'm sorry.
There's more coming up
I haven't had
here.
any problems. I've been with blockchain for a long time.
In moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-packed technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Free Talk Live.
When you speak of the federal government, I can tell you a few things about it because I survived 34 years of it before I retired 2 years ago.
Ew.
And
Sorry to hear about
maintained
that.
my sanity.
Congratulations.
Who did you work for?
I worked for the Department of Defense. It's a criminal enterprise from top to bottom. There was unethical behavior going on there. There were people doing criminal things. I mean, outright larceny, graft. I could just go on.
Yeah, and that's just your bureaucracy. It's the same way everywhere else in every other government department.
And I tell you, this is a microcosm. If it's that way where I was, you know the entire federal government's that way from the very top to the very bottom.
When we talk to former police officers, they've told us that usually
I did that too for about 7 years out there.
They've told us that in their experience, usually the worst rise up through the ranks. Would you say that's accurate from your experience?
Absolutely.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free, bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username lrn.fm. Some of the numbers are in here from Keene, New Hampshire, where the municipal elections were happening today. There were libertarians who were running, and it looks like all of them were trounced in the election, unfortunately, including our friend Bob, who was running for mayor here in town. He got about 19% of the vote. Now, to be fair, it was his first time running ever in Keene, and he was the only other competitor to the incumbent. So the incumbent did handily win, but I would say 19% for a campaign with... He had some campaign signs. He stood out at the polls today. I don't know how much door-to-door he ended up doing. He'd originally planned to do quite a bit, but I think he got distracted with other more important matters, and I don't blame him because, you got to do important things in life to make life work, and door-to-door, door-knocking is going to take a lot of time. But they do say that in New England that if you want to win an election, especially as a first-timer, going door-to-door is a way that could possibly help. Of course, we don't know what the actual turnout was. It's not looking like it's much more than maybe 15 to 20% of the city's voters turning out. In the ward in which we do the show, there was when I went to vote at like 5 o'clock tonight, which was 2 hours before it was closed, there were about 500 people who had voted so far in the day. So not an overwhelming turnout or anything like that, by no means a mandate. These are the more politically connected people who tend to vote in municipal elections. And if anything, it goes to show that just a few hundred people who, if we had, let's say, a few hundred libertarians move to Keene, New Hampshire, we'd be able to actually win primary elections and, in theory, potentially tip the scales on some of the general elections as well. Certainly, running candidates is better than not running anybody because, as I said, Bob was the only guy who ran against the incumbent. So he was the guy who got to speak on the media. He was the guy who got to talk about more freedom in the press. Now, unfortunately, we live in one of the least free cities in New Hampshire, which is Keene. It's probably the most. It's one of the highest taxed cities in all of New Hampshire. I think it's number 2 as far as the tax rate is concerned. This is a place that's close to Vermont. It's close to Massachusetts. It's a place where you're going to find more of a kind of a lefty big government influence here in this particular town, and we got a long way to go. But nonetheless, we'll see if there's any other news. I know Shire Dude, who's a Free Talk Live sometime co-host, was running out in Manchester for the city council out there, or the alderman as they call it there. So if there's any other news, we'll certainly let you know about it. Our former co-host Conan also ran for the one of the seats on the city council here and got trounced like 5-1, basically 5 votes to everyone. So it's not an easy road here, but we do actually have people who are trying to do something. They're trying to work within the system to get elected, and some of the libertarians in New Hampshire are actually getting elected, not so much because they're running for town councils, but more so for state representative seats and things like that.
Generally not in this particular area.
Yeah, Keene hasn't been particularly friendly towards electing libertarians. In fact, there was a hate flyer, a voting flyer that went out that actually specifically targeted anybody that sounded libertarian. They alleged that Bob was connected to so-called Free Keeners. They claimed that Conan was part of Free Keene, which, of course, the blog site that I run here in town, to much hatred. And so
I'm sure the Free State Project appreciates them getting smeared with the Free Keene brush, though.
I don't think the Free State Project is actually mentioned anywhere in here. As far as the Free State Project is concerned, yeah, it's not in this This document.
There you go.
Voting guide. Anyway, let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Sarah's in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, I found out that we're going to have 4 cameras each intersection and every ART stop on the rapid transit.
4 cameras per stop.
What is ART?
This is a new rapid transit that is being built in Albuquerque.
A bus?
It's a special bus
That's
with
correct.
a special lane just for the special bus.
Okay.
Yes, so it definitely will be for pedestrian and bicycle safety. It definitely will be because at the intersection, if they hit a pedestrian and run off, it's going to be in real time. They'll be filmed, so they will be caught. So it's not there to give out tickets, but it's there for surveillance.
So you're happy
So
about
that
this. You
I
want to
would-
see a larger surveillance state. You want to see more government cameras at more intersections and every bus stop everywhere.
Well, especially that central, because
What
they have
about
always
what
been-
about putting cameras into people's homes? I mean, there's a lot of domestic abuse that goes on in America, and if you could have government cameras in every room of somebody's home, that would really help keep domestic abuse victims safe, wouldn't it, Sarah?
Well, you know what? That's a difference. That's a private place. This is a public place. Everybody's fully clothed.
But don't you care about domestic abuse victims?
Well, yes.
Well, don't you
But
want
I
to see?
care
I mean,
more about-
you
look
care
it.
more about pedestrians, huh? You care more about their safety.
Well, let me ask you this, Sarah. You know that you have facial recognition software, right?
Right.
So they can pretty much tell it's you when you hit the camera, right? They've got cameras that look at people's license plates. They know who the car is registered to. So, to some extent, they can see you basically from the time the government can know where you are and what you're doing from the time you leave your house in the morning to the time you get back. They know what your patterns are, where you drive, and that sort of thing. Do you think that'd be something that a tyrannical government might want to collect that sort of information?
Well, you know what? I mean, on a major street like Central, where so many people have been hurt and killed and hit and ran red lights, I would like that. And it's my dream come true because we're going to have, and then everybody will know that we'll have 4 cameras watching you. So you can't run a red light and kill somebody and run off because they will catch you. So technically, I really like it.
It's her
and it's
dream
not-
come true, she says. A total
Yes.
surveillance
There's
state.
there's nothing private that they're doing on Central. Are they getting a massage?
I'm not
Or is
asking
it a
if they're
dressing
private.
room?
I'm not asking if it's private. I'm asking if you like the idea of the government tracking your movements and everybody else's day in and day out, day after day, establishing patterns, gathering metadata on you, quite possibly losing that information because they lose it all the time, quite possibly selling that information because they sell it all the time. And then, it's not going to be you and I they're going to sell it to.
Well, the thing is, people are subject to cameras already as it is. Every Walmart, every Walgreens, people don't complain. When you walk to an ATM, you're being filmed.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
true.
buses in it. Well, the buses in itself, they're going to have 18 cameras inside the bus, and plus a security guard. People want safety. Right now, there's alcoholics loitering, panhandling.
But why
selling
don't you want
drugs
safety
all
in
night
your own
long.
home? I mean, couldn't your home be more safe if there were government cameras inside your home? I mean, wouldn't that make things more safe?
Well, it's a private place. People sometimes like to be naked. Sometimes people are.
Yeah, but is
having
your
sex with
nakedness
their-
more important than your safety? I mean, wouldn't you want the criminal who breaks into your home and attacks you to be caught? Because if there were cameras in your home, then the government would be able to round that criminal up, supposedly, as long as they weren't wearing a mask or a hood or something like that.
Well, I mean, if that's what you want, if you want.
No, it's not what I want. No, it's not. It's not what I want.
That's what you choose to. But,
But I think it's interesting that you're using the excuse that that these cameras at the bus stop are going to improve safety as the reason to have them. But yet when I point out to you that if there were cameras in your home, that might also improve safety, but yet you're against that. What do you got to hide, Sarah? What are you doing there in that house of yours or that welfare apartment that you're in that you got to hide?
Well, the thing is that the Central Boulevard is open.
No,
to
I'm
the
not asking you
public.
about Central
Everybody
Boulevard.
shares it. That's the
I'm asking
difference.
you, what do you got to hide?
Well, Well, I'm doing a lot of personal things in my home, you know, and so do you. I know you probably run around and naked or whatever you do. You know what I mean? So why is the business for me to ask what you do in your home?
Thanks for the call tonight, Sarah. I appreciate it. Oh, my. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like
just
freedom.
Love to badger that woman.
855-450-3733. You bring up whatever you want. The toll-free number here. This is Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown. But these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait now. Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can head on over to freetalklive.com, get signed up for our email newsletter. It's easy to sign up for right there on the front page of the website, so head on over there. It's kind of at the top area towards the middle of the front page. At freetalklive.com, also on the front page, you can actually create the content in a Reddit-based system that allows you to share whatever you think's interesting. Maybe it's an outrageous news story or some cool video that you want to share with our listeners, whatever it is. You can just put it up there, and then other listeners can vote as to whether they like or dislike your suggestions, and you get to vote on them as well. So head over, get interactive, freetalklive.com. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. Dan is in Nebraska, listening online to LRN.FM. Hello, Dan.
Hello,
hey.
Minister Ian Bernard and Mark Edgington.
Hello, Dan.
I called in to provide a little bit of defense for Scott from Massachusetts who called earlier.
Scott the bigot. Not many people want to come to his defense. What do you have to say?
Well, the thing is, Ian, he calls in, and I don't feel like he's very good at coherently making his points, but there is something to be said about the whole, communist sort of like takeover that isn't happening explicitly in front of our eyes, but that what he didn't bring up, instead, he should not have talked about the Jews, but he should have instead talked about the concept of Soviet subversion, where back in the 1960s and 70s, people who worked for the KGB were trying to not, instead of fighting a war with like weapons and guns, that was all over. It was about taking a battering ram and ramming the pillars of people's culture until they would collapse and then could be subsequently replaced by communism.
This is cultural Marxism.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's actually there's a really good interview you can see on YouTube about it called Deception Was My Job with ex-KGB propagandist Yuri Bezmenov explaining his role in destabilizing, a few countries that he worked in and how that was his job. And he said basically it was kind of like, I don't remember the martial art he compared it to, but where you find where your enemy is making a mistake. So when the United States would have people who were destabilizing it from the inside, but who weren't working for Russia, and who would, help them make that mistake for themselves so that they could lead to, the collapse. Like how they inserted Marxists into all these universities to the point where now you have much more people who are professors at universities going to identify as Marxists than conservative.
I would agree with you on that, but I mean, universities are ripe for socialist and takeovers. I mean, they're socialist organizations. The United States government, supports these socialist education systems, and then I'm supposed to be surprised that socialists take over?
Well, I mean, there's definitely a communist plot to take over the United States, right? And they've pretty much put in all the planks of the Communist Manifesto. We went over this a decade ago on Free Talk Live.
Sure.
I mean, I remember being in Florida talking about the, more
the
than
10 planks.
Right, the 10 planks, and we found like 8.5 of them or something like that had already been like almost completely implemented. So I think there's something to say about that, but to do as Scott the bigot does and blame Jews for that problem, because I think that is a problem of communist takeover of whatever, indoctrinating people into socialism and communism, which of course always ends in violence. These systems that are supposedly to make people equal, you can't do that, and so there's always force that has to be involved because people won't do those things naturally, and force always creates unintended consequences. So I think those are important things to talk about, but the suggestion being that it's all some sort of Jewish plot is, in my opinion, ridiculous.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't want to give my actual opinion on that part, but what I will say is that I think there's a certain tragic point to it now where even though the Soviet Union is gone, right? They're done with the communism over in Russia, that this plan that they put in place to destroy the United States from the inside out is already working, and it's going to work until it completely breaks us down. So even though the original perpetrators, the original people who are trying to destroy us, are no longer working at it. Their plan is still, poisoning America from the inside.
Dan, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to John in Philly. John, you're on Free Talk Live, listening online.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great show tonight.
Thanks,
I
John.
was just calling in to ask about the Free State movement and the Free Keene movement and how they were received in New Hampshire by a lot of the locals and, basically the political movements there. And I'll go ahead and take my answer off.
Well, you
the
don't
air.
have to
Great
take
show
you don't
tonight,
have to
guys.
take the answer off the air. You're welcome to stay here and talk. But it depends
okay,
who you
no problem.
ask. I mean, well, guess what? If a bunch of people come into a place and say, "Hey, we want this place to be more free," and then they try to go and get elected so they can try to get the place to be more free, well, the people who don't like freedom are going to go ahead and do everything they can to fight against it tooth and nail. They're going to get dirty. They're going to get nasty. Just what you would expect from the political process and politicians. But yeah, so some people love the Free Staters. They love the libertarians that are coming in here. Others hate them.
4,500 people have signed up as Friends of the Free State Project, who are in-staters.
New Hampshire folks.
New Hampshire folks have signed up as in-state, Friends of the Free State Project. But at the same time, it's certainly activated a few people who are against the Free Staters, and then a lot of people just complain because people complain. Really what's important is who's willing to be active in state government, and the answer to that is there's probably as many active Free Staters within, or I should say liberty activists within the New Hampshire state apparatus as there are either Republicans or Democrats. So we're at an equal parity, would be my opinion.
Well, if there's only like 5% of the population there voting, it would seem like, more of the people that are pledging to move to New Hampshire and move in there would vote.
Yeah, well, some of them do, some of them don't. Some of the people who move here, like Michelle Seven, who we just had on last night, she came back for a visit, but she's an anti-system, anti-voting person. Johnny Ray, our Sunday night co-host, is anti-voting. So not everybody who moves here is active within the political system, but there are still plenty of people who are running for office, who are willing to go and participate. I think, Johnson, you and I both went and voted today.
Yep.
Mark, you don't live in Keene, so you weren't able to do that, but you vote in your town elections when those things come up. So many of us are politically involved, and that upsets the hell out of these statists, these big government people who want to make the government bigger and more intrusive than ever. They're scared of the libertarians here. In pretty much every other state, libertarians get ignored. Here, we get front page news headlines because the libertarians are the only people, notably, who are challenging the status quo in a lot of places. Here in Keene, 3 of the elections had solid libertarian candidates in them. Now, they got trounced, but nonetheless, that's kind of what we expect to happen.
Election, yeah, it's definitely to be expected because the people who generally vote in a local election
are the politicos.
They're either old or they work for the government.
That's right, or they're the family members of the people who work for the government
because they're basically convinced by to go directly vote for
their buddies.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a lot more that can be done, John, but we need more people to move here. We need thousands more. We just don't have enough yet. I mean, we're having a good impact. I mean, people are getting elected. There are state reps who are libertarians, like actual Libertarian Party members. There are also Republicans and Democrats who arguably are like very principled libertarians here. So we've had more political success in a decade than the Libertarian Party has had nationally, I would say cumulatively, in 4 decades. So there's no doubt that concentrating activism in one spot absolutely works.
Right. Well, thanks very much for taking my call, and
John,
great show tonight, guys.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate hearing from you. If you want to learn more, check out 101reasonsfilm.com. It's a great little hour-long documentary, and thanks for the call tonight. And it's free to watch online, so anybody can go and check it out. It's about 3 years old. It actually came out in November of 2014. I had the pleasure of being one of the co-producers for that film, and I think it's an excellent look at some of the different aspects of life here in New Hampshire. It's not just all about working within the political system. There's a lot of charitable volunteer work that goes on, people getting involved in their communities as well in a lot of different ways. And I'm sorry, just the fact is, if you rock the boat, as we have successfully done here, not just politically, but also outside of the system, there are going to be people who hate you for it.
It's interesting. Yeah. I've had a conversation fairly recently, some activists comparing two liberty-oriented movies, Libertopia and Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree.
They compared them?
Yeah, compared them. Like, hated this movie. I really thought this movie, Libertopia, was really good, but they hated it because it's not action-packed enough. Like Derek J's.
Well, it's hard to beat Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. I mean, it's a great movie. And that's another one you can watch for free online. And by the way, apparently the Berlin Libertarians lost in their city elections as well. So maybe they can blame that on Keene. See you tomorrow, freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, November 7th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.07 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,118. Antiwar.com reports, making it less and less clear what Saudi Arabia's ultimate intentions in the Yemen war are at this point. Reports out of Riyadh say that the Saudi-backed Yemeni government is effectively under house arrest within the Saudi capital and being actively prevented from returning to southern Yemen. Saudi Arabia invaded Yemen in 2015, vowing to reinstall President Hadi, who had previously resigned and whose term in office had long run out. After Saudi forces captured the southern coast of Yemen, they made a big show of sending Hadi and other officials from his government in exile to the port city of Aden, making it a temporary capital of Yemen. Hadi's been falling out of favor, however, particularly with Saudi allies in the United Arab Emirates, who don't like how many of his political allies are linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. Forces from the UAE have taken over a growing number of places in southern Yemen, though to what end isn't totally clear. Either way, Hadi came back to Saudi Arabia for meetings in February and has not been allowed to go back to Yemen since. Though the Saudis never officially detained him, in August he went to the airport intent on buying a ticket to fly back to Aden and was rebuffed. The rest of his family and all cabinet members within Riyadh are similarly being kept from flying back to Yemen. Saudi officials say they aren't confident Hadi would be safe in southern Yemen, but this has apparently been the case for nearly an entire year now, and it's increasingly doubtful they intend on ever letting him back into Yemen, raising questions of what Yemen is going to look like in the long term, especially if the Saudis continue to maintain it will be ruled by Hadi. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. UPI reports Florida State University President John Thrasher indefinitely suspended all fraternity and sorority activity at the school on Monday. Thrasher said he wanted to send a serious message to Greek organizations on campus after the death of a 20-year-old Pi Kappa Phi pledge, Andrew Coffey, and the arrest of 20-year-old Garrett John Marcy, a Phi Delta Theta fraternity member accused of selling cocaine. Thrasher said for this suspension to end, there will need to be a new normal for Greek life at the university. There must be a new culture, and our students must be full participants in creating it. A ban on alcohol was also instituted for all student events, including those run by the more than 700 organizations outside of the fraternity and sorority system. Police suspected alcohol as a possible factor in Coffey's death. Coffey was trying to become a full member of the FSU chapter of Pi Kappa Phi, which has faced sanctions for hazing, alcohol violations, and unspecified misconduct within the past 5 years. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday overturned a lower court ruling that an Alabama man convicted of killing a police officer in 1985 was no longer legally eligible to be executed because strokes wiped out his memory of committing the murder. The 9 justices ruled unanimously that the state of Alabama can execute 67-year-old Vernon Madison. They said Supreme Court precedent had not established that a prisoner is incompetent to be executed because of the failure to remember his commission of the crime. Madison has suffered several strokes in recent years, resulting in dementia and memory impairment. He is legally blind, cannot walk on his own, and speaks with a slur. Justice Stephen Breyer, a death penalty critic, wrote in a separate opinion that Madison's case illustrated the unconscionably long periods of time that prisoners often spend on death row awaiting execution. The amount of time condemned inmates spend on death row has increased from 7 years in 1985 to more than 19 years in 2017. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Hundreds of exasperated Americans confirmed Thursday that, for fuck's sake, the article they just clicked on is actually a stupid video.
I clicked on the story thinking I'd be in and out of there in 30 seconds, but then that little buffering thing popped up and I was like, here we go.
Quickly hitting the mute